Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the Best Buds Talk podcast. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, bro. Doing good. I've been waiting since 2019 for this podcast.
I know, right? Today's a special podcast, guys. We are here with our special bud, our best bud, Jason. What is up, Jason? How are you doing?
Doing good, guys. How you doing?
Doing great, man.
Yeah. Been a long time, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, since 2019, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I know
Man.
you guys talking about starting up the podcast, and now I'm finally here, and I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Bro, how long had, I think I mentioned to you about the podcast, years ago, huh?
It's been a few years, man.
Yeah.
So I know with all of our schedules, it's been really busy.
Mm-hmm.
I know we planned on doing stuff with COVID, and COVID hit, and that's when, kind of chaos struck, and we haven't really been able to come here and kick it and talk it all out.
Yeah, but, as Angel says, it happens sometimes,
Destiny.
Hey, right? Hey, to be honest, man, I actually every time I think about COVID. I know COVID was bad, but every time I think about COVID, I think about the first starting of Best Buds Talk, because we were just starting, my mom's backyard and my trailer, and just talking about a vision, and then now we're doing what we do.
Yeah, a little by
what we
little.
love, man, hanging out with our buds and just recording and just having fun with it,
Making it happen now. But,
hell yeah.
We've been talking about having Jason on for a while, and we had a few questions been built up because we've been excited to have him on and stuff, and we finally have him on here. So tell us a little about yourself, Jason.
Well, man, I'm 28 and born and raised here in Bakersfield. Started a career in EMS probably about 5 years ago. I'm currently a paramedic with Hall Ambulance, and man, it's been a roller coaster ride. Became a paramedic 5 years ago, pre-COVID, and here we are now. And so, yeah, man, got a lot to share with you guys.
Hell yeah, dude. I got a lot to share. We want to take in a lot. We got a lot of questions too. I got a lot of questions, because I've been seeing some stuff around town, and if you're from around town, you know that Hall Ambulance is our angels, our guardian angels that's gonna bring you back to life. But I started seeing some other paramedics around.
Yeah, man.
Are we getting competition, man?
I would say that competition is coming for sure. The reason why we have different ambulance companies now is because we are short-staffed. We cannot respond to the number of 911 calls that are being put out. And because we're not making our response times, Kern County EMS has put together a plan by asking help from the surrounding counties, and the surrounding counties are offering 2 or 3 of their ambulances and their crew to come and help us, and they're dishing out probably triple what Hall Ambulance is paying us now.
Wow.
Just to help us out to make our response times, because when we don't, one, people's lives are, people are dying, so that's one. 2, we're getting fined. We're getting fined so much money not making our response times, and it's getting to a point where Hall Ambulance is on their last legs, and if they can't get staffing up, then the Kern County's gonna go ahead and bring in some competition and start sharing a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So,
Oh shit, dude!
I believe we're expanding. We talk about it here that we're expanding fast. Bakersfield expanding super fast. We don't realize like that.
that's
Like
true.
you said, you have competition already.
And I mean, the staffing issue didn't really happen until after COVID. COVID really put a lot of us through the ringer. We're seeing people dying left and right, to the point where people got exhausted for being overworked and underpaid. And a lot of people left for better jobs, working in the hospitals, going to school and being nurses.
Yeah.
And people got fed up with it. Not only that, not only being overworked, but management's pretty hard on us. And so when you're being overworked and underpaid, and then on top of it, you're being yelled at, people, they don't want to deal with that. And I don't blame them. I'm starting, a lot of us are at the brink. And so that's why everybody's quitting and searching for better opportunity. So
what you're saying right now is that they're trying to hire a lot of people right now?
they're hiring anybody that they can. As long as you have an EMT certification, even if you don't, Hall Ambulance has put together their own paramedic program and EMT program in-house. And so what they're doing is, if you have no experience, there's no problem. You go in, they give you an interview, and honestly, at this point, if you have a pulse and you're over here saying that you want to be a lifer, you want to be in EMS for the rest of your life, they're going to hire you. They'll put you in an accelerated program. I think it's about 2 to 3 months EMT program. You go and take the National Registry out in Orange County, and you're in. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody out there listening and, you know, might need a job right now, you know, that's one avenue right there if you guys need
Absolutely.
something.
I will say, I mean...
Well, if you're looking in for, I would say not needing a job. See,
Yeah,
needing
well, not anybody, but I'm like, you know, people who are looking for employment and feel like that's a field that they would like to venture into.
Listen, I will say, I mean, yes, it is a very hard job. It's not for everybody. You know, it's definitely something that you really need to think about before you get into. But I will say that working for Hall Ambulance here in Kern County in Bakersfield, it has been just amazing experience. I couldn't ask for better experience. I think the experience here is better than anywhere else in California, honestly. You get anything from, you know, simple BS abdominal pains all the way to shootings, stabbings, hangings, overdose, vehicle rollovers. You're getting everything. And so if this is something that you're interested in with healthcare and first responders, I would extremely highly recommend you guys take a look into it. Visit hallambulance.com and you guys can get all the information there. I think we're going to start an EMT program here in January. So go ahead and you guys take a look if you're interested.
And like you said, they have to be dedicated. You want to save someone's life. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you have crazy stories that you have. I'm pretty sure.
I got stories for days.
Yeah, like Daniel said, you know, not just anybody who wants a job. You know, that's I misspoke on that part. But yeah, you know, anybody who's interested in is really understanding what the job is.
Right, because honestly, we already know that this job is hard, and you don't get paid for the work that you do. That's for sure. A lot of us sometimes will work a lot of overtime, and there's some people out there that work for Hollanders that have second jobs because it doesn't pay that much. So don't go into this job for the money, because the money's not there. Go into the job because you really want to make a difference when it comes to helping somebody. Mm-hmm. And if that's what your fulfillment is, then this is a perfect job for you. So don't go into it with, you know, selfish intentions, because you're not going to get it. It's not going to be fulfilled.
Just hopefully there's a better help for you guys too, because I do feel like they need to get paid a little better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you told us because, you guys are. I get it, it's all, but there's still, you got your own bills you got to take care of back at home.
I mean, it's true. You figure, I look at, you know, places like Chick-fil-A, right? Don't get me wrong. I love Chick-fil-A. People who work at Chick-fil-A, they're very hard workers. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not downplaying them whatsoever. But when I'm getting paid a couple dollars more than what they're starting, there's a problem with my company. There's a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Maybe not so much what they're getting paid, but so much what I'm getting paid. You know, I'm performing life-saving measures in the back of a small ambulance by myself. And I'm getting paid a couple dollars more an hour than the person at Chick-fil-A. There's a problem with that, and it's not on Chick-fil-A. It's on the company. You know, it's on who I'm working for. So
like you said, that's why you guys are short. Because a lot of people saw it's not for me. Like, it's cool, I'm doing this, but I want to get paid a little bit better because everyone got bills, everything's going up too. Everything's expensive out here.
So.
And then for, you know, like you said earlier, especially for doing what you're doing, like that, you said starting off you get paid minimum wage, right? That's what you were saying?
If you're an EMT, you're making about minimum wage, which be around $15 to $16 an hour, give or take.
Like, are they doing also like some sort of a few extreme things like that where they should get paid more? Like, are they also in situations where they should be getting paid more than what they do?
I believe so. So when you start out as an EMT. So you go through this accelerated course, or you go through BC. BC's EMT course is, I believe, 1 semester, which is, I think, like 5 months long. You go through the 5-month course. You go and take what's called a National Registry out in Orange County. It's a big test. They go in there. There's proctors everywhere. They make you empty out your pockets. They make you take off your belt, take off your hat, take off everything. Yeah. You sit in a cubicle. They watch you. Okay, this National Registry is a big deal. What it is a randomized test. It's anywhere from 80 to 120 questions. And depending on how good or how bad you're doing, the test is adaptive. So let's just say in this test, it'll give you, you know, for easy to follow reference, we'll say there's 3 categories. There's trauma, medical, and, OB babies, right? Pediatrics. Let's just say you're doing bad in pediatrics and you're doing good in everything else. Well, the test will recognize that and it'll start giving you more pediatric questions. Now, if you start failing all the pediatric questions, then it'll stop the machine and say, you know what? No matter how many questions we're going to give you on this, you're not gonna pass. So you have to be proficient in every single category during this test, right? So it's a tough test. And so after you pass that, then you're officially an EMT. You take the course and the National Registry. So then the job as an EMT, or emergency medical technician, is they're the right-hand person for the paramedic. So their job is to respond to the emergency in a fast and safe manner. And then they do exactly what the paramedic tells you to do, right? And so that means you need to know the ins and outs of our first in bag. You need to know the ins and outs inside that ambulance, because when I ask you for something, it's probably going to be in a hurry. You say, I'm going to need this, and I need it now. So there's no sense, if you don't know where things are, there's going to be a problem. So you need to be very proficient in where everything is. I think it's just as stressful, too, sometimes as an EMT, trying to be that good backup, right?
Right, yeah.
And then their job is to transport the paramedic and the critical patient to the hospital in a timely manner, in a safe manner as well.
Yeah.
So I personally think that they should get paid more, because from beginning to end, you're looking at 6-7 months, and then you have to go through a training period at Hall Ambulance, which is probably about 2 to 3 months training period.
So you take like a whole year.
I would say about 7 months.
7 months.
And then after that, if you decide to be a paramedic, the recommendation is that you're an EMT for 1 year on the ambulance, right? And then you go to paramedic school. Paramedic school, the course itself takes about a year and a half. Then you have to go through clinical rotations, which is at the hospitals. You practice your IVs, your intubations, patient care, stuff like that. After that, then you'll go through your internship, which you're on an ambulance with a veteran paramedic who's been a paramedic for a while, and they basically watch you work and see how you do.
Right.
You have to be on the ambulance anywhere from 500 to 700 hours. After that, you take the National Registry for paramedics, which is just as hard as the one you took before. Yeah. So total time, you're looking at 2 years for a paramedic, and then if you want to add the EMT stuff behind that, that's about another 6 months. So you're looking at about 2.5 years to get paid couple dollars more than fast food workers. So, and that's all across the country. That's just not here at Hall Ambulance.
So,
from California to New York, Maine.
Holy shit! So you're saying that an In-N-Out employee makes more than you?
I would say as an EMT they make about the same. As a paramedic, I make about $2 more than them. Oh. If they're starting out at $15 an hour, paramedic.
Oh no! In-N-Out starts
getting paid like
$20-something.
Yeah. Then they make more.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks because your job is stressful. Like you said, it's stressful.
You're there to save our lives.
You're saving our lives.
Yeah. Because we're idiots.
That need it.
Because we're idiots.
We need our help. We need our help.
But, like I said, I going to this, I knew that it wasn't for the money. I already knew that I wanted to get into this to kind of make a difference. But I love my job. It is stressful at times. I am overworked, especially now post-COVID. Pre-COVID, it wasn't too bad. I really love my job. I didn't work really super hard. I didn't have that many calls. I kind of just got to hang out with my friends.
I remember you were telling me that.
Yeah, there were times.
What were your thoughts when COVID hit?
Oh, that's a good question. When COVID hit, initially I thought it was not as big as it was. I thought that COVID was kind of another strain of like influenza, and I thought that the high-risk people were people that were 65 and over, people with comorbidities like hypertension, stroke patients who have cancer, people who couldn't fight infections. As time went on, me and my wife actually got COVID last year, and it actually took my wife of 9 years. After my wife passed away from COVID at 28 years old, it really changed my perspective on it, because she was healthy, she was young, no medical problems whatsoever, and so for her to pass away from COVID was just a really big just shock. And it just goes and shows that COVID is something that is very serious, and something that people really need to not look over. Because if it could happen to me and my wife, it could happen to anybody. So.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, I remember when Javier told me, I was like, man, that's crazy.
You know, it just
Yeah.
it was the last thing that I could have ever expected because
Yeah.
at the time when my wife and I got sick, we weren't vaccinated, and you know, one of the things that I've kind of come to terms with, and I've kind of been able to lay to rest, is that back when COVID first came out and they came out with the vaccines, you know, my wife did ask me, you know, she said, "Hey, should we get the vaccine or what do you think?" And I was like, well, you know, I think the vaccine is really meant for people who aren't healthy, people who aren't young, people who can't fight, you know, regular infections, illnesses, you know, older people, or people, you know, like I said, with cancer, things like that, poor immune systems. And I said, I think we'll be okay. I mean, it's up
Right.
to you, but I think we'll be okay. And she kind of followed in my footsteps in the sense that I didn't get it. You know, it was being offered to us for free, and so we didn't get it. And it kind of breaks my heart thinking if that would have made a difference and if my wife would still be here today.
Right.
So, you know, for those that are listening, if you guys aren't vaccinated, it's something that, again, I would just take it from me. You know, really think about it. If you have a family, again, my wife was 28, very healthy, no problems whatsoever, didn't take medication for nothing. Really sit there and think about it. And if you still decide that you don't want the vaccine, hey, that's all fine. Just know that it's a very strong possibility that something could happen to you or your loved one. So,
Yeah.
but those were my thoughts on COVID from then to now. So
Yeah, there was so many in the whole population, of the world. There was so many mixed information that we didn't know whether it was one or the other. Most some people say that it wasn't that bad. Maybe it's just like a cold type thing. Other
Right.
people would say like, no, it's serious. Like you said, some people would say that it doesn't affect younger people, just older people.
Well,
It didn't affect children in the
well,
beginning.
that's the thing. Exactly what you just said right there in the beginning. In the beginning,
Mhm.
I'm on the ambulance. I'm the first person right there out there, right?
Mm.
And what I'm seeing in the very beginning when COVID hit, I'm seeing people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Those are the people that I'm running. Those are the people that are dying. Not once, and since COVID has started, did I have a 20-year-old in the back of my ambulance, a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, not even 50-year-olds that I see in the back of my ambulance struggling to breathe, dying from COVID. Not once did I see that. And right when my wife and I had gotten sick, that's when I started seeing reports in the news of people in their 20s to 40s dying.
Yeah.
So, you know, my wife was part of that group, and that was later on when you know, that was already a year, you know, when COVID already started. And so it just goes to show that this wasn't the same, 2021 wasn't the same COVID as it was in 2020.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, exactly what you said is in the beginning it was very different.
Yeah.
So now I have seen 20, 30, 40-year-olds in the back of my ambulance with COVID really struggling to fight, you know, to get past it.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that it's not the same COVID. It's different mutation, different strain. Not too sure exactly what it is, but we are seeing a shift.
I was gonna ask when you said that. You think it became stronger, or what do you think happened? Because that's just like you said at first. You were just looking at certain age.
They mutate, bro.
Yeah, just like any other virus that's out there, it just mutates. I mean, it goes into somebody else's body and things happen, it mutates, and it comes out with a different strain. Maybe it might not be as strong as the other one, but it just might be a different strain where the body doesn't recognize it, and it's just having a hard time trying to make antibodies for it. So I think that's exactly what happened. It just mutated. I know there's been different variations that you may have heard on the news. I'm not too sure if my wife and I had gotten that strain or what it was, but I mean, obviously now that she's passed away, it doesn't matter what strain it was. What it was COVID, and that's what ultimately took her. So I mean, she was on a ventilator for 3 weeks, you know, fighting on a ventilator, on a machine, helping her breathe, and you know, I got an opportunity that most people, you know, didn't get, which was I got to be with her before she passed away. I was with her on the night that she passed away. They let me in, and I got to kind of you know, say goodbye, and got to hold her hand and talk to her before she ultimately passed away. And I think that's really sad is that a lot of these families didn't. There's a family, for instance, here in Bakersfield that he was a correctional officer. He was at a hospital here, and he was, I believe, 24, 25, and the family, they said that they were going to intubate him, they were going to start breathing for him, put a tube in his lungs, and before they did that, they went ahead and let them video chat him. He wasn't able to really speak from what I heard, and he was able to kind of wave to them and give them a kiss. And then he ended up passing away ultimately the next day. And I mean, young family, 24, 25, 26-year-olds, you know, and a lot of the families, they went through that same exact thing. They didn't get to see them, touch them, didn't really get to talk to them. And I was fortunate enough that I was able to be with her when she passed away. So I'm grateful for that, and that's the one thing that I got that nobody else really did. So I gotta be grateful for what I did get. And so yeah, it's real.
Right.
So
Man.
You got your blessing. To be honest, you got
Yeah.
a blessing.
I'm pretty sure.
Like it's hard to see a blessing. It's hard to see it in the moment because I know I have learned, but it was a blessing, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a big lesson because in the back of an ambulance, since I've been in an ambulance for 5 years now, you see a lot of death, right? And you always think, you know, that's not going to happen to me. That's not going to happen to me. You know, and you see it all the time, and you would think being on the back of the ambulance, it would give you a reality that it happens to anybody, right?
Yeah.
But
Heck yeah.
for me, it wasn't. You know, I just, you know, see another dead person, and you go on to the next one, and you don't think, like, that could happen to me and my family. And so it was a big reality check, and so, you know, every day is a gift. You know, always tell your family you love them. Always live your life to the fullest, you know. That's another thing. People are very scared and nervous to kind of go off the deep end and do whatever it is that they want to do. And for me, I decided to do all the things that make me happy and not try to please everybody, you know.
You gotta please yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
you gotta
true.
please yourself.
It's true because life is short. You know, my poor wife, 28 years old, still had a lot left to do here.
Yeah.
And so, and she was always looking out for others. You know, she always bought everybody gifts, you know, for the birthdays, holidays. She always made holidays special. And she never bought anything for herself, never wanted to do anything for herself. And probably about 3 months before she passed away, I was with my wife for almost 10 years, since we were 18 years old. And I think about 3 months prior to her passing away, she bought herself 3 very nice purses, Louis Vuitton purses, Coach purses. She never had bought herself anything. And we were in a very good financial position at the time where she could do that. And she didn't even get to use 2 of them. She got to use one probably about 2 or 3 times. And then she passed away. And it's just like, how sad is that? She couldn't even enjoy the one time that she bought things for herself. She didn't even get to enjoy it. So, you know, my advice to everybody now is if you have the financial means and, you know, obviously you don't put yourself in a financial hardship, go out and do what you enjoy. Go out and take your family, spend time with your family. It doesn't even have to be about spending money, just spend time with them.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
And I mean, I'm pretty sure I could speak, you know, for all of us that, you know, we give you all our condolences and you know, may she rest in paradise. And I could say, me myself, that I met her. You know, you guys were an amazing couple, and she was a super awesome person too. She was very hospitable, and I would go over and hang out with you and stuff. And you know, she always seemed like a very happy, you know, cool person. She was always in a good mood. She was always polite and stuff, and she was an amazing person.
Well,
and
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that story with everybody. So, like, it's an eye opener to everybody, you know.
It's true. You gotta enjoy every moment. Like I tell Javier a lot.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what day we're gonna wake up.
Yeah.
If we're gonna wake up our next day. Like
we
gotta
don't.
tell everyone, you know what, we love them.
And it makes my job, you know, since I almost didn't go back to work. After everything that happened, it was, you know, I really was obviously in a very depressed state. And I felt like I couldn't go back to that job because that job was extremely stressful with my wife, with my support. You know, that was my support system, right? If I had a bad day at work, I can go and talk to her.
Right.
Now that was gone, you know, I was like, I don't know if I can go back and do this job, you know? And so I sat there and thought back, do I enjoy the job? I do. And then I thought back to where my wife had supported me. I went to paramedic school twice. First time I went to paramedic school, told my wife I wanted to do it. She was very supportive. I drained all of our money from our bank accounts, from checking, savings, credit cards, max credit cards. She was on board with it because she wanted me to do what made me happy, right? So then I went for the first semester. It took me 5 months, and I failed. And man, we were sharing a car at one time. I was working, you know, 2 jobs. She was working 2 jobs. I remember the day that I failed, I came out to the parking lot where she was there to pick me up, and I just sit there and I cried and I cried and I cried, and she was like, "What's going on?" And I told her, I failed. I fucked us. We have no money. We're behind in bills. We're behind in rent. We're behind in utilities. We have, barely enough money for groceries. We don't have anything. And I fucked us bad. And she said, you did it. Are you gonna go again? And I said, yeah, I'll go again. And she's like, well, then you didn't fail. Like, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So then, right after that, I got hired with Hall Ambulance, and that actually truly changed our lives. Hall Ambulance, I was able to quit my jobs, my previous jobs, and I had steady income. And I was at Hall Ambulance for a year, bounced back financially, and then went to paramedic school a second time, where she was very supportive a second time, and she was with me the entire 2-year journey of being a paramedic, and she was there at my graduation, and I owe pretty much all of it to her. And so when I was thinking about going back, I obviously remembered the sacrifices that she made. So on top of me enjoying the job and the sacrifices she made so that I could pursue this career, that ultimately what led me back. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do this for her. I'm doing this for me. And so I went back. And I think going back after this tragedy has made me a lot more compassionate towards families and towards patients. I think prior to that, I wouldn't say I was callous, but I was kind of like, they're not dying, they're okay, kind of whatever. Kind of go through the motions, do what I got to do, right? And then just kind of go from there. Drop them off and go to the next one. Yeah, I see a dead person. Yep, they're dead. Oh, well, go on to the next person, right? Yeah. To the next call. And so now... So I think now that everything had happened, I'm a lot more compassionate towards my patients. I think my very first cardiac arrest that I worked up after coming back to work, and I had to go tell the family, like I've had numerous times, like, hey, I'm very sorry, but, your family member has passed away. We did everything that we could and, kind of move on. I think the first time that I came back and did that, I was probably halfway. I had already told them that he had passed away, and I broke down right in front of them, with them.
Yeah.
And it was, very hard to tell their family that, that he's passed away.
Yeah.
Because I know that feeling when I got the news too.
Yeah.
So now I think it's made me a better paramedic in the sense of compassion.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
To relate with the patient and the family.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that I hope none of you guys have to go through anytime soon. I feel like losing your wife or your spouse is probably right underneath losing a child.
Right.
Yeah. It's up there. So, but yeah, man. That's where I'm at. I've been back at work. I think it's probably been about a year now since everything has happened since I came back to work. Currently work in Shafter. Our station out there is 32, and we run a lot of calls in Bakersfield still.
Yeah,
we're supposed to really cover Shafter, but because again we're such short staffed, we're the closest station to Bakersfield. Shafter is, and then Wasco, right? And so about 90% of the calls that I run in Shafter are actually in Bakersfield. Because when people call 911, there's actually sometimes every now and then there are literally 0 ambulances. I actually don't think the public knows that there may be a chance where if you're living out there, downtown Bakersfield, you're calling an ambulance, you might get me coming all the way from Shafter. That's how bad staffing is.
Holy shit.
Somebody can be having a heart attack downtown, even off of Ming Avenue, White Lane. Right, having a heart attack or somebody, choking, something severe, and I'm responding from Shafter. It's going to take me 20 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to get there. And so,
Does Bakersfield not have, like, first responders?
As in, like, other companies, or?
So in Indiana, where I used to live in Indiana, and they have first responders who are just regular people. Like, they could be at work. I could be a first responder. And they get a call. They have a radio. They get a call. And if they're close by, they leave. They are first to respond on site until a paramedic gets there.
So when it comes to something like that, an actual organized first responder program, that's not implemented here. There is an app if you are CPR certified, AED certified. There is an app called Pulse Point that I would highly suggest you guys download if you are CPR and AED, trained. Where you download the app and it'll actually use the GPS, and if there's a 911 call that goes out for a cardiac arrest in your area, within like a mile from you, it'll alert you to go and perform CPR before fire and EMS respond. So, but as far as implemented by the county or by the city, no, there is no first responder programs here.
Oh man, that's it's nuts. So since you mentioned CPR, let's I want to jump into this because I know everybody has a question. I've had the question, and I used to be certified. I'm actually wanting to get recertified, but so some people don't know this, but you could actually get sued for bringing somebody back to life.
Well, there's something called the Good Samaritan Law, which actually helps out layman people who are doing CPR. So prior to that, you'd get in trouble, because you may. The thing is you may hurt somebody, right? Oh. But since the Good Samaritan Law came out, I actually don't know when it came out. It came out a long time ago.
Yeah.
It actually protects the citizen, the layman person, from getting sued by anybody. The only time the Good Samaritan Law, it doesn't cover is first responders like myself. If I go and I, do something and I hurt a patient, I'm medically trained. And if I do something that I'm not supposed to, they can sue me. Good Samaritan Law doesn't protect me or EMTs or firefighters or anything like that. But as far as you guys, if you guys aren't, certified, you guys call 911, you guys do CPR on somebody on the street, and they say, hey, why'd you do that to me? You saved my life, or you broke my ribs, you punctured my lungs.
You fucked up my high.
Yeah, you fucked up my high. Yeah, right? They can't sue you. Good Samaritan Law protects you. Oh, okay. So never be afraid of somebody, saving somebody's life, going hands-on. Call 911 first, right? Yeah. Get instruction from the dispatcher. Dispatcher will teach you how to do CPR right then and there on 911, Yeah, all dispatchers are CPR certified. They'll go over on the phone with you how to do CPR. If somebody's having a baby right in front of you, they'll teach you how to deliver a baby right over the phone. Yeah. So yeah.
They might have to teach them the mother how to revive me after I pass out.
Wake them up.
I want my
bucket of water. Little bucket of water. Yeah. Ice challenge.
Ice challenge. Holy snap! That is.
I had almost choked on a fish bone.
Oh shit!
A couple of months ago, bro.
Oh yeah.
And it was me. It was. So. It was me and a couple of people from school, right? So a couple of classmates and stuff, and we're smoking quite a bit. Like this guy that was smoking us out, he basically rolled 2 Federal backwards with some good shit, right? Mm-hmm. And so we smoked those, and we were hotboxing the car at that. So we're still breathing in all the smoke that was in the car. And so after that, we're all taking off, and me and one dude that doesn't really smoke like that. Like he was smoking and shit. He was in there and then he stopped, but he's still smoking, inhaling the smoke in there. But after we decided to go get something to eat before we went home, and so we went over there to a restaurant, and I got fish tacos. And not don't get me wrong, the fish tacos are delicious. They're not worth dying for. And so I was over there and I got my tacos and I was enjoying them. That was my first taco.
Oh man,
that sucks.
And so then after that, I took a bite and stuff, and I'm cool. And then I'm chewing, and I'm about to swallow. I feel something poking. I'm like, what the fuck? And it was going sideways like that too.
Of course.
So I was like, oh fuck. So I spit it out. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And I was just tripping out because I almost swallowed that thing. And then bro, if that would have been in there, you'd have to give me like fucking the Heimlich maneuver or some shit,
Well, that's the thing. Believe it or not, thank God. First of all, thank God
you're thank God that
right?
Happen.
Right. But your trachea, or your esophagus, I should say, your trachea. So your esophagus, we'll do a little anatomy lesson real quick. The esophagus is where all the food goes down, right? And then there's a trachea, and that's where the air goes into your lungs. And you have this thing called the epiglottis. It's like a big old flap, and whenever you swallow, that flap covers the hole that goes into your lungs, right? And it goes into your esophagus. Well, obviously, when people choke, they swallow, and it goes, that flap didn't work it was supposed to, or they try to take a breath when the food went down and gets stuck in between where the trachea is, right? So, but your esophagus essentially is, if you take your pointer finger and your thumb finger and just make a circle, that's how big, roughly, your esophagus and your trachea is. About that big. So, if you look at people who choke, they usually like for instance, a hot dog. Hot dog fits in there perfectly, unfortunately. And so, like, sometimes even the Heimlich may not work because the hot dog it's like the perfect snug. Yeah.
Bro, I like hot dogs.
Chew anymore. Chew very good.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It's the chewing. Because my dad eats slowly. Like, he says, you got to chew your food before, and we try to take it all down.
Well, yeah, I'm a fat ass, bro. Like, so when you're saying all that right now, I just keep thinking, I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I breathe, if I even eat. When I eat, I just fucking gulp that shit down.
Yeah, Goku just breathing that thing in.
I know.
Just scooping the plates.
Hey, here's a good question, guys. So when you guys eat noodles, do you guys chew your noodles or do you swallow them?
I chew them.
I chew them.
I chew them. Yeah. Okay.
But
I feel like I get more flavor too.
you're savoring it, man.
Just squeeze out all the juices that's
Yeah.
up in there.
Hobby, you do blasphemy when you do noodles.
Well, what do you do with your noodles? Now I gotta
Bro, oh my
I
God.
just
Okay,
make it
no,
right,
like,
and then
let
I
me
use my
explain
dick
it.
as a temperature gauge. And I'm like,
So this is
that's good.
That's fancy, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I clean my shit, so it's cool.
so. Let me tell you what he does.
Let me hear
This guy makes his noodles. He made noodles here. He had his noodles in the bowl and everything, and it starts boiling. And he opens his packet, bro, and he throws his fucking seasoning packet in the boiling water. So that water is not now. It could be too much water. It could be too less water. Well, you can never go wrong with too less water, but it could be too much water. And
super diluted.
Diluted, yes. And he's just letting it boil in there, and I'm just like, hiya.
But then again, though, how much water do you put in the?
See, that's the thing. I've made them so many times that I know
how much water
I'm putting in there.
All right, that's fair.
And how it's gonna taste after I'm done with it.
Hey,
so I'm not just just.
See, I just feel like that's not as blasphemous as what I do with mine. My noodles. I go ahead and I put. You guys ever put Cheez-Its in that shit?
Nah.
See, people think that that's blasphemous. I put Cheez-Its in it.
No, I would try it.
That shit's delicious.
I would try it because so here when I make my noodles, I'm very specific on how I make my noodles.
Yeah, he's a whole chef when it comes to that.
So when I make my noodles, like
like man a Michelin star.
I can't put my noodles in the water until it's fully boiling, and then because I feel like you'll get. Like, my noodle has to be perfect. It can't be too...
texture-wise?
Yeah, I don't like it too soggy or anything.
Too firm?
Yeah, or too firm.
Okay.
So I wait for a full boil, and then I throw it in and let it get a boil. Okay. And then, after it comes down to... Well, before it finishes, I'll get an egg, and I'll crack an egg in there.
Ooh.
So I'm letting the egg poach in there.
Yeah.
And then I'll kind of scramble it in there.
Okay.
And then I have to put... some of the seasoning in the bottom of my plate. I'll put a slice of cheese, sandwich cheese, and it has to be Kraft's because you can't buy that generic shit. The generic shit, bro, it doesn't melt.
But deli cheese, dude. Slice that shit in front of you.
Right? So, I never thought about that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. That one's good.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. I'm like, hold up. We're going to change it up now. But, okay, so I put the slice of cheese. I put some tapatio, and I put maybe a hint of lemon, but sometimes I don't. Mostly the time I haven't. I used to also put lemon, pepper, garlic.
Oh, okay.
But I guess it got kind of old. But lemon, pepper, garlic is a good one too. And I'll put 2 pumps of a little bit of soy sauce. And then after it's done boiling, I'll pour a little bit of my water to my liking. And then I'll drain the rest of the water out. Put my noodles Put some seasoning. I'll mix it real good because get that seasoning from the bottom.
Right.
Then put the rest of my seasoning. Put six pumps because I like 6 pumps of tapatio, and boom, bada boom.
Damn, that sounds pretty
And
good.
I sometimes I also like to put cut up brats or turkey, like the turkey meat,
Yeah.
and or chicharrones.
I mean, chicharrones, dude. That's some special shit right there.
Bro, do you work for Ichiraku Ramen?
I'm telling you, man. There's only one thing for me that's missing, but not everybody likes it. But green onions.
Oh, damn!
no.
See, I like to put green onions, but I never have it in the house.
I know, dude. But
Shoguns, they have a little soup.
oh yeah. That shit's good too.
Yeah, that one's good.
Mm.
It
But-
just is a soup.
But yeah, man. It's nice talking with you guys because I know a lot of people when they find out that EMS and stuff, the people ask a whole bunch of questions and it's fun, dude.
Dude, yes, I got one more question to say. So, because he said questions, now we're going back to questions.
Yeah, man.
So-
hey, whatever question.
so,
hit me up.
Can a piece of rice kill you?
A piece of rice.
Oh,
A piece
did
of
I?
rice.
I'm the one that told you that.
Was it, bro? I'm not
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
lying, dude. I've been.
Remember when I told him
A
that?
piece of rice.
But my mom always said laying down.
Okay, so explain to me what your mom had told you.
Whoa.
Well,
She
'cause
just-
first of all,
yeah.
before any of this, okay, we are all Hispanic. We are all
Yeah,
Mexican.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
so many things
Yeah,
that,
I know.
that Mexican
They're wrong.
grandparents, parents have said to us that is just completely inaccurate. And don't get me wrong, before I got into EMS, I used to believe a lot of these things. But a majority of them, 99% of them, false.
Yeah.
So with that being said,
Yeah,
go
she
ahead and let
always
me
said,
know.
they always told me, don't eat rice laying down. Because she's like, oh, it can get stuck. And
That is
So,
a,
yeah,
that is
yeah,
a
that's
false
it.
statement.
yeah.
Oh,
The
fuck.
worst that would
Okay.
happen, right? The worst that is it a piece of rice or just rice in general? Like one grain of rice or just in general any rice?
She just said rice.
She just said rice?
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I can really think of, let's just say, one, you won't be able to really choke on it in the sense of you won't be able to breathe.
Mhm.
The worst case scenario I can see about rice is it getting into your lungs, right? Nothing's supposed to be in your lungs other than
Yeah.
air, right? and when we get sick, we have, phlegm and mocos, right? We have all that in our lungs and we
yeah.
cough it up, right? Obviously, we cough it up for a reason because it's not supposed to be in there.
Mhm.
Same thing. If this rice got into your lungs, it make you cough. You might have to go to the hospital to make sure that they can either surgically remove it or remove it in some wow so that it doesn't get infected. I guess in a way she's right. Let's just say that rice would
Yeah,
get
yeah.
into your lungs.
Depending where it
you're right.
falls,
You
yeah.
could if you didn't get any treatment. I guess you could die long term from some sort of infection, but I don't think it would happen because your lungs would be so irritated. You'd be coughing and coughing
Yeah.
until that rice came out.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but that's hilarious.
If there's something that does go into your lungs that you can't just get it out with just coughing, how would the medics or the doctors go about that?
Medics would not do anything. Medics would just sit there and watch you cough.
Yeah.
Right? But I guess a hospital would they'd put you to sleep and they would put a camera into your trachea and they'd probably try to find it and pull it from your mouth with very long tools. Try to pull whatever it is if it's big enough to grab. Like I've heard stories of people swallowing pills wrong and the pill goes into their lungs, right? And like I said, they just take a camera, put it all the way through your mouth into your lung, and then it's big enough that they can kind of just pull it out.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, if they weren't able to do it that way, then they would have to cut you open right down your chest and cut open your lung and pull it out that way.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
But it's so
Would
rare.
it heal?
Yeah, it would heal, absolutely. It's so rare though. Like
Right,
I've never heard of that happening. Like at least within Kern County, I'm sure it has happened. Anything that you can think of medically probably has happened.
Yeah.
I have stories for days that you guys wouldn't even believe, but I'll share. One of the things is people ask me all the time is What's the craziest things you've ever seen?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I hope this isn't a family-oriented show.
No.
Okay. So this is before I was a paramedic, right? This is when I was an EMT. You know, EMTs, we have BLS and ALS units, so that's something I'll explain real quick. BLS is basic life support. You have 2 EMTs, right? EMTs are just like basically your stretcher fetchers. They have any cool medicine. They can't really do anything cool. They're almost just like first aid, right? We have really a very limited amount of medications that we can give, like aspirin, right? Like something super basic. And so anyway, so we get a call over there off of Union Avenue. And it's one of these shady hotels, and it's for a sick person. That's all it comes out as, sick person. So we're like, oh god, it's Union Avenue. Nothing ever good comes from Union Avenue. So we get there. It's probably like, I don't know, 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's one thing too. That's very interesting too. Like, you know, if you could elaborate later on, what is Union like?
Oh, yeah, we can get into it. We'll get into it after.
How is that world?
Oh, it's a whole nother world. So then I get over there to this hotel. This guy, probably in his early 30s, he's tweaking out. I mean, he is on meth or some sort of drug, freaking out, right? Go in there, it's very damp, musty hotel room, disgusting, mold on the walls, shit's everywhere. And I'm just like, hey man, what's going on? And I can see there's some hesitation from him. And he says, oh, you know, he's like sweating too, and he's like, oh, it's my dick. And I was like, oh shit.
what am I supposed to do?
I was like, what's wrong with your dick? And he's like, my dick, man. My fucking dick. And he's just piercing into my eye, just staring at me. Yeah. And I'm just like, fuck, man, do I really gotta do this right now? Because he's covered. He has pants on, no shirt. Right? And then whenever we take people to the hospital, you know, we gotta tell them what's going on. I can't just go to the hospital and walk up to the doctor and be like, yeah, man, hey doc, his dick. Like his dick. Yeah. I don't know what,
you
just his dick.
What,
right?
Oh, yeah.
So then I was like, fuck it. Let me just get it over with. And I was like, alright man, let me take a look. Right? So it's some white guy, probably like 30, 32.
Right.
He takes his shorts off, right? And what I see fucking baffles me. His dick, again, white guy, right? His dick looks like charcoal. Just charcoal. It's just black and crispy looking and cracked. And I said, what is that? What's going on? And I tell him, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, man. And at the base of his dick, I had seen what looked like bands, like rubber bands.
Oh my god!
At the base of his dick, right? And the base of his dick was probably, if you were to take, probably like, I don't know, maybe a dime size. Maybe the diameter of his dick was about a dime size. The girth of his dick, which is a dime size at the base. Right. And I was like, what did you do?
Fuck, dude.
And he's like, I put rubber bands on my dick. I was like, how many? And he's like, I don't know, like 40.
What?
And
what is this, like, the fucking Pain Olympics?
And I was like, what? Why did you do that? He's like, so I could have sex. It's a cock ring. And I was like, how long have they been on your dick? He's like, 3 days. I was like, have you been able to piss? He's like, no, I haven't. And so, in my mind, his dick is basically, it's gone. Yeah. It's gone. There's no blood circulation to his dick. Was it for 3 days? Yeah. So I took him to the hospital, and we have to give radio reports to the hospital. So, and it's a radio that all the ER can hear, right? And so usually my reports, they're like, yeah, you know, good evening, you know, Adventist Health Memorial, you know, this is hall, whatever unit number, you know, Paramedic Pimienta, route to your facility. I got a 32-year-old male, she complained of chest pain, you know, something simple along those lines, right? So I'm getting to the hospital and I have to do this report, and I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck am I going to give this report? Everybody's going to hear this. And I was just like, hey, Mercy, so I have a 32-year-old his penis is amputated. We'll see you in 5. And the nurse was like, "Oh, what? Can you repeat? What's going on?" I was like, "Oh, you know what? I'll just talk to you when I get to the hospital." So then
Man.
the doctor goes and he sees it and he's like, "We gotta cut it off.
Yeah.
We gotta cut it off because what's gonna happen is if he cuts the rubber bands, right, his dick that's all black, it's black because there's no circulation, so all that tissue is dead.
Yeah.
It's all dead, decomposing dick.
Yeah.
If you were to cut those bands off, all that decompensated, tissue, blood, all that goes back into the body because then now there's circulation again, and then you become septic, and then you'll die.
Yeah.
You will die.
Yeah.
So they have to amputate it. And he says, "Nope, fuck you, I'm out." And he walks out. So he is more than likely dead at this point. He probably died a few days later, or a week or two later. He probably went and tried to get the rubber bands off and then died from sepsis.
Yeah.
But that's probably, that's hard because it's like all my craziest calls have to do with genitals.
Yeah.
It's always genitals, yeah. So like, not even, I'll try to tell this one a little bit faster, but.
No, you're good, bro.
You're good, bro. Hey.
No,
Hey, stories.
We like the full information.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're very observant.
So probably, and I'm kidding you. I'm not kidding, dude. I had genital calls for like 2 weeks straight. It was the weirdest thing ever. So this was probably about 3 weeks after, the dead dick guy.
Yeah.
He, this guy, big old, we get an unknown situation. We go to the hotel off of like California in the 99, where the old bowling alley was.
You're right.
Oh,
This guy came out, big old black dude. You guys know Big Black from Rob Dyrdek's show?
Yeah.
Big Black?
Yeah.
He kind of looked like him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out, and I was like, "Hi, my name's Jason. What's going on?" He's like, "My balls, man. My balls. And I was like, "Fuck, man. What's going on with all these genitals?"
Right.
It's never just the vagina calls. No, it is always dick calls, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, "What about your balls?" And he's like, "She landed on my balls, man. My balls. She landed on my balls." And I was like, "What? Start from the beginning. What happened?" So he was telling me that his balls started to get swollen 2 days prior, right? And his balls got swollen. And he said, "Yeah, my balls got swollen. I don't know what's going on, but they've been getting, bigger and bigger. And I was having sex with this girl. She was riding me, and she landed on my balls, man, my balls." I was like, damn, so this guy's a big guy, right?
Yeah.
He's huge. He's probably like 400 pounds, right? And she was riding his dick, and she landed on his balls. So I was like, fuck, man, I'm going to have to see him.
Yeah.
Fuck. Pulls out his balls. I'm not even kidding you. They were about the size of a little bit bigger than a grapefruit. Both of his balls.
Wow.
Bigger than a grapefruit.
Ouch.
And, yeah.
I mean, they had to be big.
Was it a
for
big
the
girl?
land.
He
Yeah.
didn't explain it. Was it a big girl?
He didn't explain.
Yeah.
But then I was like, he had said that his balls were swollen up prior,
Yeah.
right? Prior to him having sex, right? So then I can only think of a handful of things, right? Turns out he had very poor circulation in his testicles, and that's what caused the swelling, right? And I don't know if this was, I don't think this was it, but there's something called testicular torsion, where a lot of athletes get it, like weightlifters. I mean, you can, any one of us can get it at any point. I don't want to scare you guys, but that's just part of being a man, right? Testicular torsion is where the tubes in your balls, they twist, right? And sometimes you have to get them, surgically untwisted.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I don't know if that's what happened to him, but his balls got so swollen and tender, and she was riding his dick, and she landed on his balls, man. So,
Damn.
but yeah, man, it's been fucking, it's wild. That was when I was an EMT. It's probably like my first 2 years. That whole ambulance was just genitals, but
They gave you all the low level calls.
right. I was like, this is not what I
You gotta
signed
see
up
some
for.
balls, right? All right.
Yeah, that was not in the job description.
We're gonna
man.
get you ready for everything.
Yeah. Hey, like you said, Bakersfield. That's where you get the most experience, and
I
they want to
mean,
make sure you get that experience.
Dude, everything, man. So, it's a trip. Bakersfield is a trip, man, and not just Bakersfield. Like I've worked all the way out in Cal City. I've worked in Mojave, Roseman, Wasco, Tehachapi. I've worked all over Shafter. So it's not just Bakersfield. Just Kern County as a whole is just wild, man. I even think recently we had the show Cops, right?
Yeah.
Cops was here in town. It's just that crazy.
They had an episode right there in front of the school.
Oh, did they?
That was our first episode, bro.
I haven't seen it yet. So
But-
does it air?
Some episodes I forget where I asked that on because they took pictures and I asked it as a Bakersfield Scanner Club.
Oh yeah, I'm part of that club, or Kern County Scanner Club.
Yeah, Kern County Scanner Club. Yeah, so I commented on there. I was like, hey, so I was like, does anybody know where you can see the shows? And I did get some comments back, and I just haven't followed up on the show. But since we're kind of going into Cops and everything, how well do you guys work with Cops? Like, are they cool, or what's your experience with them?
I actually have a friend who started working at Hall Ambulance, and he was an EMT for about 2 years, and then got hired with BPD. And so, majority of the times, the cops they're always cool with us. Honestly, the people that we have most problems with, if we have any, is fire department.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think the opposite for some reason.
Well, it's because they're first on site most of the time, and they perform whatever safety I think before they get there.
So here's the thing about the cops here. When it comes to us, right, or the relationship we have, cops, they don't know shit about medical. So if I tell them something, they're gonna listen. They don't care. They'll give up their egos, their pride, whatever. I said, hey man, this guy needs to go to the hospital. They're like, cool. Because what happens is there's been situations in the past where cops were probably like whatever, blowing us off. People have died in their custody, right? I think 1 or 2 people have died. I think one that I can think of off the top of my head. And they got sued for like millions of dollars. And so now, anytime there's any little thing, cops are like, yo, bro, you want to take them? We'll take them. Whatever you say. If you say they're good, then they're good. If you say they need to go, they'll go. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. So, firemen, firemen, they are, I feel, personally, are the most prideful. Because they're firemen. Everybody loves firemen, right? Like, everybody hates cops. Everybody loves firemen. Paramedics, we're forgotten, right? So, people don't hate us. People don't love us. We're just kind of there. In the background.
They look at you like, hey, he has a uniform. What is it?
Yeah. They're like,
oh, it's a paramedic.
Who the fuck is this guy? Oh, okay, cool.
It's a paramedic.
Like, we don't get hate, but we don't get love. So we're just, we're in limbo there. Whatever.
Seems like for that, it's more like you're supposed to do that.
They don't.
Right.
They don't.
Like, hey, thank you. Yeah,
like firemen get like we'll go to calls. Firemen will be there for like 5 minutes, and they'll give me a report like, oh yeah, this is the story. This is what's going on. I'll take them. I'll start doing life-saving measures, medications, IVs, 12 leads. Shocking them, compressions, radio reports, get everything going, and then they live or something, and then they go and get the fireman cookies that were there for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I did all the work, right? So anyways, firemen think, this is not all firemen, I have buddies that are firefighters, so don't bite my head off, but I want to be a fireman myself. I have a fire background.
Right.
So, but it just seems like a lot of times, there's really great crews out there. I would say like 80% of the fire crews out there, really good guys. And then the 20% are just assholes. They've been firemen for a long time. They think they know best. They're not paramedics. I have some of these guys trying to tell me how to do my job. They're not even paramedics, right? They're just the EMTs, and their job is to give me a report, kind of get a story before I get there. And a lot of these guys, they're so prideful because look at me, I'm a fire captain. I'm a fireman.
Maybe
like,
that, and also because like, oh, I know some of like your job too.
Yeah,
so, like,
and it's so funny because a lot of these people a lot of these firefighters that have been on the job for a long time, they try to say some shit that they used to do way back then. For example, people, major traumas, right? They lose a lot of blood. Mm-hmm. So back in the day, we used to be like, they lost a lot of blood, which means that they have a low blood pressure because they don't have any blood in their body. So you know how we can fix it? We can replace the blood with fluids, with just water, essentially, salt water, and that'll get the blood pressure up, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what we learned is the patients don't need water, they need blood, right? So you're basically diluting the body, and now you're still not getting oxygen, to your brain. Yeah, the blood pressure's up, but what good is the blood pressure if the blood is highly diluted, right? And so now we don't do that anymore. We don't flood patients with water. You have some of these old school fire captains who are like, yeah, so you want me to get you 2,000 liters or 2 liters, 2,000 milliliters? I'm like, no. Well, why not? They're bleeding out. Yeah, we did that, 20 years ago? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't do that anymore, man. And so they get heated because they don't like to be wrong. A lot of these old school guys, they don't like to be wrong. They're real machismo, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, I had a crew like that a few weeks ago. Had a cardiac arrest. We have very specific protocols that we go by, right? So, for instance, when we run a cardiac arrest, we have a certain amount of epinephrine that we give people. So, we give a concentrated bag of epinephrine. So, I'll have to mix 4 milligrams of epinephrine in a 500 milligram bag, and then I'll go 8 mics a minute, slow drip, right? I know you guys, but yeah, so that's I mean, it's my job, right? I know that's what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. This fire captain's like, hey man, that drip is really slow. And I was like, let me see. I look at it, and it's about a drop a second, which is what I need. I need 60 drops in 1 minute. Right. There's 60 seconds in a minute, so everything's great. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, it's what it needs to be at. He's like, are you sure? Because it's dripping really slow. And I'm like, are you paramedic? No. Then don't tell me what meds I need, what rate my meds need to go in there. I know what I'm doing. You're not a paramedic, so don't tell me how to do my job. I don't tell you how to pop open car doors. I don't tell you how to attack a fire on a house fire, do I? Yeah. No. So it's kind of one of those things. You get those guys every now and then. It's frustrating, but like I said, about 80% of the guys are real nice. They're real helpful. Right. They always want to help out. They give you good reports. So, but that's kind of the relationship between fire and police, though. So,
paramedics don't get their calendar. Or do
no.
You?
No, they don't. But man, I already have a few ideas.
They should.
I have a few ideas, my man.
Hey, once I can, man, I'm gonna invest in a calendar just for you guys.
Hey, no.
In the first
January.
In January on the first issue, whatever year that comes out.
That's all you gotta do, man. You gotta be the first one. You gotta get it out there.
Yeah. I'm down.
And then all of a sudden, all these other counties are gonna want to jump on board, just like how they did those dances and everything.
Oh yeah. The trend dances.
Yeah,
and stuff.
dude.
I'm down.
All you gotta do is start your calendar, and all the other people start like, all right, let's go.
See, it's funny though because paramedics, EMS, emergency medical services, we are the most unhealthy first responders.
Oh God.
So it goes. Fire department usually is generally most healthy. I mean, they get paid to work out at stations, right? And then you have police officers, and then you have paramedics and EMTs. So we are the less physically fit because our job doesn't really require us to be fit, for instance.
Hey, you know what would be a good one?
What's up?
Try to get Carl's Jr. to sponsor you guys. You guys are right there, just munching on a burger. That's fucking February.
Fuck, dude, we should.
Just jump, have a
but
bunch
it has
of.
to be burger in the ambulance because that's usually how it is. We don't get to sit and eat. We have to be in the ambulance, and just that'd be a perfect calendar.
Like your
My
radio
Coke.
right there, your radio right in front.
Hey, you got your shirt
buttoned
down.
A little bit of hair showing.
Yeah, one of the nipples snipping out a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, dude.
Yeah.
Dang, hey, you know what? My mind's going right now. Like, I'm even thinking, like,
where is it going?
Like, so, like,
I'm fully clothed, by the way, guys.
Yeah. So,
these are Superman eyes.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say there's a picture, and it's like you can see like you guys are driving fast through somewhere, like you guys are on a call, and then you're wiping like some like mustard or whatever off your lip
on the run over there,
right?
with the radio in your hand,
like this.
Hey, Bruce Lee type shit.
Dude, I'm down, dude. Shit.
Hey, that'd be dope though. That'd be cool.
That was kind of one of those things. One of my wife's friends or a couple of her friends were over one day, and I got out of work. It was like, I don't know, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. I was tired as shit. All of her friends were over, and they're all like, "Hey, you showed up. What's up, man?" I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then, my wife would be like, "Oh, look at how sexy he is in his uniform." So I went up to one of her guy friends who's like really shy.
Right.
He's a super shy guy. Really keeps to himself. I started unbuttoning my shirt, and I was like, "You scared of needles?" And I was like, "Don't worry, baby. I'll make you feel all right."
Love
it's
it.
just gonna be just a little poke. Don't worry. Started stripping.
That's dope.
So
that's funny.
But
down to your speedos.
Right? but yeah, man. Ultimately, it's a cool job. Every day is different. I think that's what's most exciting about it. Is like I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Right.
I used to, me and Javi, we used to work at Foodsco. You go in there and you do the same shit every day.
Yeah.
You restock the milk, restock the bread, be a cashier for a little bit. It's the same repetition every single day, and it just gets boring and old and fast. When I go to work, I clock in, and I was like, shit, let's see what happens. It's like rolling the dice.
Yeah.
You have good days, you got bad days, you got weird days, and I think that's
you got genital days.
Yeah, dude, it's seriously genital days, genital weeks. But I'm telling you, it's great because you gotta adapt quick too, and that's the fun of it. Makes you think. Because ultimately, I try not to think about it, but when I first became a paramedic, I was like, low key, I was like sitting there working a critical call, and I was like, this guy's life is in my hands right now, and I'm freaking out a little bit, right? With the thought.
Yeah.
Now I try not to. I'm obviously more experienced. I ran a whole bunch of different calls. Now I know usually what to do because you know what? I've seen this before. I've ran a call like this before, and I know what I did back then. I know what worked and what didn't work. Let's go with what worked. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. You build that experience. You become more confident. Going on scene, it's intimidating. You have family, you have police department, fire department. Everybody's looking at you, right? And you're just like, hey, my name's Jason. What's going on today? Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can. And it's just like scared shitless, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, ding, ding, bitch.
Guess who's here?
Big Dick has arrived. What the fuck is going on? They're just like, oh, well, weird. Can you speak the fuck up? Thank you. Here's my cardiac monitor. Why don't you go fucking scrub my ambulance, fireman? Why don't you go fucking do this, police officer? Fuck off over here. Fuck off over there. So, it
like
takes,
you said, it's the experience.
It's the experience. You feel more confident.
Yeah.
And so.
Dicking everybody around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, but that's the thing. There's some paramedics who don't get that confidence, or maybe they're confident about running the call, but they're really to themselves. They're not the big dick swinging type of person.
Yeah.
They're like myself. I'm not a big dick swinging kind of person.
Yeah. But then when the pants come off, it's whoa.
That's the thing. People see that. Fire department sees that. Police department sees that. And they will big dick you in front of family, in front of the patient, in front of each other. And
dude,
then that's how it goes.
So I'm happy that you brought that up right there because, one day I was able to do my service and I got to go do jury duty. And
oh, yeah.
And on my way to jury duty, there was a couple of sheriffs and they're with this guy on the floor. Paramedic arrives, and I'm seeing this from a distance as I'm walking up because I don't know if you guys have been in jury duty. They make you park down the road. Right. So I'm walking down there, and I'm watching from a distance, and they're over there trying to help him or talk to him or whatever. And then all of a sudden, I guess there's some kind of confrontation going on between the patient and the paramedic. And then all of a sudden, the sheriff just kind of gets onto the paramedic. It was telling them to calm down or whatever, and he was like, they're like, what are you talking about? Did you not see how he's talking to us, how he's treating us? We're just here trying to help. And he's like, yeah, well, you don't have to be escalating stuff. The sheriff was being a complete fucking prick. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa, just leave him.
And that's how it goes. They will do that. They'll see that you're not confident, and they'll just run all over you.
Yeah.
You got to be tough in this job.
Oh yeah.
Especially as a woman, female paramedics, female EMTs, they will just run all over you, and you have to build a lot of confidence and a lot of thick skin because a lot of people. And that's the thing. as EMS, we get shit from everywhere. We get shit from fire. We get shit from police, from patients' families, from nurses, from doctors, from our peers. We get shit from every which angle, right? And that's probably what's the hardest part of the job, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You know, you can run the same exact patient twice with the same exact, complaint. You can run them differently, 2 separate ways, and you're going to get shit each time. You can run it the same patient 5 different times, treat them 5 different ways, and get shit on every single time. So it's always like, why didn't you do this? Why did you do that?
Right.
What were you thinking? No matter what.
Damn.
And so it's annoying. And so now you get to a point where you have confidence, because then before you'd be like, why did you do this? And you'd be like, fuck, why did I do that? And then like, well, I kind of did it. Well, and you're kind of freaking out and you're second guessing yourself. But now with the experience, you're like, you say with confidence, and doctors, it's intimidating when a doctor comes up to you and says, hey, why did you give this patient this med?
Right.
And I'll be like, well, because of this. I gave it to him because of this. And they'll be like, well, now look at them and this and that. He's like, and I'll be like, did you read the protocol? Mm-hmm. Protocol says that when you see this, this, and this, you give the patient exactly this medication. And that's what I did. And you stick by it. Yeah. Right? And a majority of the time, they'll see that, one, as long as you're within your protocol, they can't say shit. Right? And second, they see how confident you are in your abilities and your actions. Then they'll start fucking with you, and they'll start fucking with the new guy. They'll move away from you. Same thing with the nurses. Yeah. And so that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, it's like, when you're in there, when you're new, you don't really know, and especially, like you said, it's intimidating working with, like, police officers, with firemen and stuff, so in the beginning you're not too sure. But,
But yeah, man, it's wild. So, but it's a fun job, man. We get to see some really cool shit. Yeah. And, you get to do some cool shit.
Dude, so, like, you're saying cool shit and everything. There's this really cool ass fucking movie I seen. I'm pretty sure you fucking seen it.
Oh, God. What is it?
Paramedic.
Paramedic? I don't think so.
Oh, what?
Paramedic?
Yeah, the movie just came out in 2020, the end of 2021, I think. It was called Paramedic. It was like in November. It's a dope ass. I think it's a dope ass movie, bro.
What is it? Is it the bank robbery one?
And
they escape in an ambulance?
Yeah.
I think that was ambulance, wasn't it? It was called ambulance.
Oh, is it my bad. Ambulance.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So that's the thing. So don't get me wrong. On an entertainment side, it was entertaining, right?
Yeah, I liked it.
It sucks. It sucks going to EMS, because then you see a lot of stuff on TV and you look at that and you're like, what the fuck are they doing? Right? Like, that is so wrong. So, like, for instance, my girl, she watches a couple of shows. They're like, I don't know if you heard that show, 911.
Yeah.
It's like a drama series. Same thing with The Rookie, right? Shows like that, they're dramatized, EMS, right? Or whatever. And I'll be watching it with her, and it'll be like, oh, give the patient, 5 milligrams of epinephrine. You're like, bro, what? Are you fucking gonna kill them? Like, what are you doing? like you're supposed to give that motherfucker like 0.1 something. You give it a 5. That's like 100 times the dose. Like, what are you doing? And then my girl's like, I can't watch any of this shit with you ever again. Like, I was like, well, that's fucking stupid. Like, don't they have somebody in the background and be like, hey, that's wrong? Like, they'll have like a medic or doctor.
Right? I know. You're gonna have.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
You're gonna have these people out here like, oh man, they said it on the show. I could have something just in case.
Yeah. They'll mimic the show, and I'm just like, damn.
They're like, they're fucking dying.
Out of those that are dramatized, what about like Scrubs?
Oh, you know what? First of all, personally, I love Scrubs. I've watched Scrubs from beginning to end. Yeah. It was amazing. Dorian, Ryan Turk. It's good stuff, right? There are a couple of episodes. I would say even more than a handful for sure, where they actually do have accurate like medical statements and accurate medical stuff. So I would say out of all the dramatized shows, I mean, I haven't seen like Grey's Anatomy or like some of the other big ones.
House. I heard House.
Or House. Yeah. I've never watched House. Yeah, I'm sure some of those shows are more like accurate. Yeah. But as far as like being a comedy, like they actually have some accurate stuff in there. So
I don't want to say that I know it was Scrubs, but I know that there was a like documentary or whatever that I kind of watched, and they were giving their feedback on them doing the show, and they said that they were able to, like, they love that they got along so great. They were like family, and what they loved the most is that they actually got to study and learn some things from like the medical field. So I don't know if it was Scrubs, but I remember seeing something like that.
Well, that's exciting too, and that's the thing. Like, not only do I have the knowledge to try to help somebody at work, but it's also great having that knowledge like here with my friends, with my family. There's something going on, people can call me like, "Hey man, this is what's going on. What do you suggest? What do you recommend?" You know, and it kind of sucks because sometimes people will call me with medical advice that is like so. My quote unquote specialty is emergency medicine, right? Things that are life or death, right? Mm-hmm. And my job is not to heal them or fix them, right? My job is to keep them alive so that a doctor can step in and actually fix them, right? Yeah. My job is to kind of patch them up until I get them to the hospital alive, right? And so they'll kind of talk to me and they'll be like, "Hey man, I have a rash." And I'll be like, "Oh, Jesus, where?" You know, they're like, "Yeah, I have a rash on my chest and it's been like that for weeks. Like, can you look at it?" I was like, "Dude, I am not a doctor. I have no idea what that rash is. You need to go to a fucking doctor." Like, you know, like if someone says, "Hey man, I fucking cut my finger off on a bandsaw," I'd be like, "Shit." And I'd be like, "Yeah, what do I do?" "Well, fuck man, why don't you grab, you know, like a towel or something. Yeah, put your finger in ice, your chopped off finger, and then grab a towel or something and squeeze the shit out of your hand, right? Squeeze the shit. Put so much pressure on that. Maybe put your hand in the air. That'll work too, right? Pressure, hand in the air, right?" And so I can give advice on shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like diagnosing my friends and family, I always get weird questions about stuff like that. I'm just like, I have no idea. "No, aren't you a paramedic?" "Yeah, not a doctor." "Yeah." So
what about a general question?
Generally, hey man, I'm an expert on genitals now, so you let me know. I'll point you in the right directions. Yeah,
I'll talk to you after the podcast.
You know, there's creams, right? There's antibiotics.
Yeah. It's not the same.
So you do very well with blood, then.
Oh, dude, blood. Dude. Oh man.
So, and I love that you brought up the finger thing, because I used to be safety at one of my old jobs, and there was this guy, in a different department, and he cut off his finger with a saw, but we didn't know what, because he thought he could go faster, which he did go faster. Not gonna lie, he did, but those guards are put there for a reason, right. And you know, we got called out there, and I was like, all right, let's hurry up and go out there. It was like one of my first, apparently, big ones. So I'm running out there, and I see my boss. He's coming from the corner, and we're started going to the same area. And my boss is like, I swear he's like 5'4", 5, like he's small, bro, maybe 5'3", but he's this big stoky guy. And what do you call? He sees a freaking the area, and there's blood. And he's just like, "Oh shit, like, that's a lot of blood." And then you can see the other guy with some other people, and he's just over there screaming, like, my finger. And then my boss, big stocky guy, face first in the fucking blood, dude. Out. And like, I'm over there holding them up. I'm a fucking heavy ass guy, dude. And it was just freaking nuts.
I'm telling you, in this job, you got to be good with three things, right? Majority of things. It'll be blood, vomit, and shit. Blood, vomit, and shit. Yeah. Three things you got to be good with. My partner, funny enough, actually got vomit on her 2 days ago. 2 days ago, we had responded to a call for a syncopal episode. Older gentleman in his 80s, feeling really weak. You start thinking about cardiac problems, whatever. Show up. He's like, "Yeah, I'm doing great. No big deal. Whatever. Just felt a little weak." And I was like, "Cool." My partner was getting him ready to get him on the gurney, and out of nowhere, just projectile vomited on her. And you got to be cool with it. One of my previous partners, we had a call downtown. I don't know what that club is now. It's changed so many names, but it's actually right across the street from that BC building on Chester, the Wales Institute.
21 or something?
Yeah, 21 or 21 Avenue.
It used to be 21.
Or the Avenue. Something like that. So I responded to a call there. Guy got knocked the fuck out, fell backwards off the curb, hit the back of his head. Right?
Oh man.
He was completely knocked out, which is obviously really bad. Because then you don't know if he's knocked out from alcohol. You don't know if he's knocked out because he just fell off the curb and smacked his head.
Right.
More than likely, it's the trauma.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we get him going. We get him on, me and my old partner. Get him on the gurney. We sit him up. He wakes up, vomits on my partner. Right.
Ooh.
My partner does not do vomit, or it just smells in general.
Right.
And as soon as that happened, my partner starts vomiting.
Oh.
Right? And so then we're trying to get this guy, he's bleeding out of the back of his head.
Yeah.
We're trying to get him in the ambulance, and my partner's sitting there gagging, vomiting on scene in front of all these people.
It was an episode of Family Guy.
Dude, it really was, man. And so anyways.
He turns back to try to help you and he just turns back the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Dude. Even on the ride to Kern Medical, he was still dry heaving in the front of the ambulance driving. Yeah, man. So you have to be good with that. You got to be good with smells.
Yeah.
Some of these people's houses, dude. You know, one of the thing is that we respond to so many different houses. Whenever I respond to all these houses, there's just full of trash and cat litter and shit and mold. You know, it's disgusting. A lot of people's houses, a lot of them. And then I go back to my house and I see the dishes that are like halfway filled, or my dirty clothes on the floor, and I'm just like, you know what? My shit ain't that bad. Like, fuck it. Like, it's not that bad compared to what I normally see.
Yeah.
You know, dead mice. You know, dead. You know, animals. It's bad, dude. Some of these people's stuff is bad. So.
So, you know, you were talking about that you see a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
You know, and like that some of the houses are bad in bad condition. I was watching a video on Facebook, and basically it was this guy who was saying that his job is to clean up murder scenes or suicide scenes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they go in there. He goes in there. Sometimes he has to clean up some blood. Sometimes he has to clean up some like brain matter somewhere on a mirror or something like that, right? Or a tub or something. And, you know, he was explaining how for him to try to not think about it too much, like, oh, bro, this is fucking human stuff, you know? This is supposed to be inside somebody, not out here, you know?
Right.
But for him, he just thinks, like, oh, it's, you know, it's just, I don't know, some jelly or something, just something different. Something normal, you're like, oh, I'm just wiping the mirror.
That's not human people. Human
Yeah.
body parts.
So, in your job, do you ever see crazy stuff like that, or do you have to go, you know, kind of change your mindset a little bit when you're looking at stuff?
Yes, absolutely. I think for me, obviously our job is to get people to the hospital alive, right? That is the job. That is the goal. So, for me, for instance, I'll give you an example of probably one of the most horrific calls that I've ever had in my life. I had a call for a traffic collision out there off of Brundage and Union, right kind of by that Carl's Jr. that's there. It was for a motor vehicle collision. There was a paramedic already on scene. One of the ambulances was already there. And he said, hey, we got like 4 patients. I need another ambulance. Right? I was the closest ambulance to him. So we responded. Well, I got there, and the paramedic met me. The scene is just a whole bunch of wreckage everywhere. And he was like, hey, man, I got 2 dead people, and I got 2 red tags, meaning that they're very critical, on the brink of death, right? I said, okay. And he's like, you take this one red tag. She's getting cut out of the car right now. So just follow me to the car, and we'll get her on it. We'll get her on your gurney. I said, okay. So then I walk up to the car, and it looked like the car was just compacted. Like it came from a junkyard, right? And I'm standing there, and I'm looking at this wreckage. I'm standing in front of the car where the front of the car would have been. And I'm just kind of looking at it, and they're cutting this lady out of just twisted metal. It's like when you look at the firemen that were working that day, you just looking like there's somebody in there. Like it looks like it's just a ball of metal, right? And so I was just kind of sitting there waiting for this lady to get cut out, and it catches my attention that in this twisted metal, there is a gentleman who I was assuming was driving. His eyes are bulged out, and his face looks like if you were to take the yellow kitchen gloves, like the dish gloves, and you were to ball them up and slap them on the table. That's what his face looked like. Wow. Right? And his buddy behind him had his arm sticking out of the wreckage, but all of his body just looked like balled up tissue paper. And I just remember seeing that and just being at a loss of words, recognizing that those were people. And that's the stuff that you see in movies, right? Just unreal things. And that's when the paramedic had told me that she had been cut out. And so at that point, for me, mentally, I think about the task at hand. There's somebody that is alive who is critical, and I need to worry about them, and I need to worry about getting them to the hospital alive. What do I need to do? So my main focus is I'm so worked up thinking about what I need to do and how I need to do it that all the other stuff is blocked out. The time where all that other stuff comes into play is afterwards. It's after when everything has settled and everything is quiet. Then you go back and you think about the things that you had seen. Yeah. And so, as far as during, I distract myself with what I need to do. Afterwards, there really isn't anything that kind of distracts me. I guess for me, what it is just hobbies, enjoying your time, outside of work, doing what you love. Yeah. That's what helps you. A lot of people in EMS have a lot of PTSD, or they'll have depression, things like that. But for me, I have a good support system, my family, my hobbies. So that's kind of how I get through it. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, because it's crazy. Like you said, you've seen a lot of things, but you got to take care of the patients that's still there. Mm-hmm. You got to look out for who you can do something good for.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's overwhelming in the beginning. I mean, even now, I've been a paramedic for 2 years. Even 2 years isn't shit. There's times where even now I go on scenes and I'm lost. I'm like, what do I do? I've never seen this before, or this is a situation that I'm not used to. So I'm still learning. I mean, even a 20-year medic is still learning. So, but like I said, working here has given me a lot of experience. I mean, my second day as a paramedic, I ran what's called an MCI, or a mass casualty incident. Right. And what it is it's 5 or more patients. If you have 5 or more patients, you do what's called a med alert, which it alerts all the hospitals in Bakersfield or Kern County, wherever you're at, and says, hey, we have 5 or more patients that are going to be transported, and there's a rotation. Kern County EMS steps in and says, hey, hospitals, you need to tell me what you have room for. How many patients do you have room for? Yeah. And so they'll say, Kern Medical will say, I have room for 2 patients. We have a tag system. We have green tag, yellow tag, red tag, black tag. Green tag is good. Mm-hmm. Green tag is, they're hurt, but they're walking, they're talking, they're, maybe a broken arm or something, or a broken finger, whatever. Then you have a yellow tag, somebody who's, on the ground, can't really walk or get up, maybe is a little bit confused. Their vital signs are kind of stable. They're a little bit elevated or, low. Mm-hmm. And then you have red tags. Red tags are the most critical, the patient that needs to get out first, the patient that needs immediate care. And then you have black tags. Black tags are people who are dead, people who don't have a pulse, people who are gone. Those are black tags. So my second or third day as a paramedic, I think it was my second, I get a call for a vehicle collision, multiple vehicles involved. It was a 99 northbound, I think at White Lane. I had maybe 5 or 6 vehicles involved. I had 6 or 7 patients, people all over the roadway. It was very hectic. And I never run a mass casualty incident in my life. Okay. And so getting out there and seeing all these people hurt, it really stopped me in my tracks. There's nothing, they teach you about this stuff in paramedic school, but never had I run that before. It was my second day. Wow. You know, so um, experience goes a long way. Even like I said, the 20-year medic will
See
be
something
learning
new.
still. Yeah. So
Well, last thing I want to ask you, and then we could change to a different subject.
Yeah.
Was um.
come on, my man.
That's a good question.
That's really
Yeah.
good
Okay.
question.
So the longer that you're in that in that line of work, right?
Mhm.
At first, you're shocked about seeing certain things.
Absolutely.
But as it goes on, do you feel like it kind of changes your perspective or affects you in a certain way mentally?
Absolutely. I think it affects me in a good and bad way. I think in the bad way, you do see a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. Dead bodies, people crying, people sick, people hurt, right? And after a while, I felt, for me personally, I did feel a little bit callous. I felt a little bit numb. You know, yeah, this dude, he's 60 or 70, and he is dead. Yeah, I mean, he's 70, he lived a good life, it is what it is, right? I think that's a negative view. Like I said, when my wife passed away, it kind of softened me up like I was in the beginning. In the beginning, you have a lot of compassion, and so now I kind of have that same compassion where I'm just like, yeah, he may be 70 or 60, but, this is somebody's dad, this is somebody's brother,
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people in my line of work who are callous, who are kind of like, yeah, okay, all right, next,
Yeah.
And so I think in a way, the good way for me would be like, well, it kind of gives me a reality of, we are very mortal, right? Our day can happen at any time for any
Yeah.
reason. I ride motorcycles. I've run, I don't even know how many motorcycle downs. People are young. They're 20s, 30s, 40s, right? And it reminds me that I am not immortal. I can die. I need to. It gives me that sense of when I get on my motorcycle, I think about the people that I've ran those motorcycle calls. I think about that, and I think about how careful I need to be. Mm-hmm. So it works in both ways. So,
and I don't know if they do or not, but it'd be great if they had some sort of program where it kind of helps their employees, Hall's employees to
RLC still
de-stress and stuff like that, and kind of give them practices to be able to make sure that they're okay, even though they see all those kind of things.
So back in the day, there used to be something called debriefing, where I don't know, it was either at the end of your shift or if you had a bad call, you would show up for debriefing where you talked about it, right? Well, back in the day, I mean, even sometimes now, we live in a society, especially a machismo, society where I guess it's getting a little bit better, but talking about your feelings is a signal or a sign of weakness. A lot of the guys back in the day would be like, wow, we don't need to talk about it, it's whatever. And even, like I said, nowadays it's still kind of like that.
Yeah.
We do have a program where we don't debrief, we don't sit in a circle and talk about the calls that bother us. But if we do run a call that bother us, we do have a counselor that is available 24/7, 7 days a week. We can call her at any time, and she will talk to us and basically debrief with us. We talk about the call, we talk about what bothered us about it, and then if we need to, she's just kind of a crutch for that moment.
Right.
To kind of just let it out.
Yeah.
And then if it's something that bothers you further, then we have a system where we can get professional help for longer periods of time.
Okay.
So.
Well, it's good right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
I commend everybody that's out there doing what you do, and we commend you, and we appreciate what you do.
I appreciate it.
Because I know, like you said, you're short staff, so you're working even overtime to save more people.
Absolutely.
And we don't take into account the fact that you guys are traveling, and you never know who else is on the road, and just might not be driving properly enough to let you guys either be there on their way or at least get there safely.
Right.
So that's another thing, So
well,
thank you guys.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for that. And now I just want to talk about when we our first days of friendship, how we met, and then also our gaming days.
Oh man, yeah, I think we met back in. Oh man, I'm really trying to remember dates here. 2016, 2015. Would you say maybe around there?
Yeah.
We met each other at Foodsco.
Yeah.
My cousin Norbert had already worked there, and you were cool with Norbert already at that time. And so I think since you were cool with Norbert, I went in and we had found out that we were cousins, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how you and I tied in with each other. And I think from then on, we were just like, yo, you're a gamer, I'm a gamer. We kind of enjoy all the same things. And I think from there we just started. I think we really kind of just connected with gaming.
Yeah.
And man, I think back then, 2015, we were all about Gears. Gears of War, probably the best.
Gears of War, bro.
One of the best multiplayer games out there, man.
Yeah, one of the best shooters.
Dude, we were just grinding away all day, every day. We were just playing that shit nonstop. And I think back then, Gears of War 3, Halo 3, those are just the monumental periods of gaming. I don't think you could. Those Xbox 360 days, Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 2.
Because Gears of War 3 and Modern Warfare 3 came out at the same time, because I remember that specifically because when I went to go get my 360, I got the Gears of War 3 edition.
Yeah.
And they, at the same time, they also had the Gears of War 3 edition.
Yeah.
And funny story about that, if you guys don't mind me telling it real fast.
Yeah.
But,
No, go, man.
So I went to go to Target and try to get the Gears of War edition, right? And so they tell me like, oh, actually we're all out. We only have one. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't see any of the Gears of War edition out there. I'm like, damn, I only have Modern Warfare. And so then I wanted to go pay, and then another couple came up and they were buying something for the Switch, and I believe they were asking for like a certain version or a certain bundle or something like that. And then, me just being a little nosy ass, I was like, oh, yeah, I was trying to get the Gears of War 3, but unfortunately didn't have that one either. And then somebody heard it, and they're like, oh, you know what? We might have some in the back. Like, I could go check in the back if you want. I'm like, no fucking way, for real? But I was about to pay that shit right then and there, like, without even asking nothing. And luckily they heard, and I got the Gears of War 3 edition.
Dude, that shit's badass.
Yeah.
Bro, I have the game, and I never played it.
No, it's really good, man. You
It's
should at least play the campaign. It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the pinnacle of gaming. Like, kids nowadays, they cannot survive Xbox 360 lobbies, dude. People are brutal. Brutal as shit. But, I mean, I don't think I've had that much fun in gaming, like, ever. Like, that was when I had the most fun. Because nowadays, I mean, obviously, we're all still gamers. You and I are still big gamers. Yeah. But for me, I don't feel like I have as much fun now as I did back then.
Right.
So... But yeah, man. Even those Halo 3 lobbies, really good too.
I can say for Mortal Kombat, bro, I still very much enjoy those games, Mortal Kombat and Injustice, Street Fighter, stuff like that.
So that's the thing. I was a big Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter fan back when I was a kid. 10 and up.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big Mortal Kombat Street Fighter fan when it was like 2D. You know what I'm saying? Like the classic arcade fighters. And, I guess decent, and, I could beat all my friends, right? And then I kind of took a break until Super Street Fighter 4 came out. I think it's 4, yeah. And then that's when I kind of jumped back in, and it was way different. A lot of the movements was way different in 3D, and it looked amazing. Mm-hmm. Another one of the fighting games that I really enjoyed playing the arcade cabinet was Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh, that one.
Beautiful fight.
Intense.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you remember when East Hills was open.
Yes.
They had the original arcade. Not the one that it died off with, but the one before that. Like, it was a legit arcade. You go in there, they had all kinds of games, all kinds of fighters.
Dude, it was amazing.
People would go there, line up, and play each other.
Yeah.
For the whole day. It's like actually good players too.
The good old days.
So it was amazing watching them play.
That's dope.
If I wasn't playing in the arcades, I played on Nintendo 64. Mortal Kombat came out on Nintendo 64.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just barely got back into MK11.
I remember playing Mortal Kombat on Sega.
Yeah, it was on Sega.
Yeah, because that's that's where I figured out Sub-Zero was my favorite character.
Oh, yeah, you were just saying that.
That was my favorite character. Yeah, I love Sub-Zero. I think I played as Sub-Zero for the longest time, MK2, MK3. And then now I just barely jumped back into the MK world. I think that I left off on MK3 or MK Armageddon was probably the last Mortal Kombat I've ever played. And then I jump into MK11. Everything's way different. Obviously, it's a big gap. And before I left Armageddon, one of the fighters that I loved to play was Jax. I felt like Jax was super underrated, and Nightwolf was there, and I felt that was another underrated character, so I was like, I want to be good with them,
Yeah.
And then jumping into MK11, man, even just the story by itself is actually a decent story.
Yeah.
And I'm super invested. and I know they're planning on coming out with MK12. So
Yeah.
we'll see when.
We'll see if it even is MK12 because it's just rumored right now.
I don't.
True.
So I'm hoping it's either Injustice. I mean, MK12, Injustice 3, like either one of these, right? Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe 2,
Ooh, yeah.
or DC versus Marvel. Because
DC
they've been
versus
talking about
Marvel would be
That
a
would be-
blockbuster, dude. That'd be dope.
That'd be dope.
a fighting game, bro.
You know what fighting game I miss that hasn't been out in a while? Soul Calibur. You guys ever played Soul Calibur?
Yeah. I
That's
love
a
that
good
shit. The customization.
Yeah. Just Soul Calibur, it kind of reminded me of Tekken a little bit.
Yeah.
The fighting style is a little bit Tekken-ish.
Mhm.
But I really enjoyed it. I love Soul Calibur. I think the last time, I don't even know when the last one came out.
I don't know.
I
I think
don't
it's
know.
Soul Calibur 7 or something like that.
Damn, that's wild, dude. And Tekken, too. I
I
never really
don't.
played Tekken.
I don't. Can't recall playing it.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
That was super good.
Smash Bros.
Ooh, Smash
Oh,
Bros.
you know what? I was gonna say.
I've never heard of that either.
Oh.
No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing. I'm
So,
messing.
I was gonna say before we change to that, I was gonna ask you guys both. Have you ever played Mortal Kombat, Angel?
Yeah, I played it.
Do you have a favorite character there?
Yeah, Scorpion.
Okay, so I want to ask, because I think we talked about it off air, and I'm gonna ask both of you, and then I'm gonna ask him. But why was Sub-Zero your favorite character?
Sub-Zero was one of my favorite characters. I just think the concept of him being able to just be, his whole form is ice. It's all ice, and all of the moves that he was able to incorporate with the ice was amazing. He could do with spikes. He made the floor slippery. Just the combat with him was so versatile that I just really loved his character. And then his background, all the lore about him being a part of a clan. He's a ninja.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought that was just badass compared to the other characters from MK2. I just felt like he stuck out the most. Same thing with Scorpion. I think that's why most people went with those two characters because they were the most, you know, unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Brothers.
Which is
just
kind of
from,
ironic.
Yeah.
Because you say unique, but they're like their palette was
Yeah,
so
Right.
so similar, you know.
Fire and Ice.
Yeah, but that's
You know?
cool too. That concept, like just like Street Fighter, Ken and Ryu.
Right.
Daniel, why was Sub-Zero your favorite character?
So Zero's my favorite character because when I started playing, my cousin was playing as Sub-Zero,
Yeah,
and he was the first character I played with, and I like the color blue.
yeah,
So I was like, oh, awesome. Then when I seen the movie and Mortal Kombat,
yeah. The original one.
yeah, and then I seen that Sub-Zero was actually helping, I was like, I want to be the good guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sub-Zero's the shit. Ever since then, that was my go-to, and then it's always been my go-to. I didn't recently started trying other players. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
Like every time I play with someone, I play with you. You see that I play as Sub-Zero. Now that I play with the kids and everything, I actually changed up my character. I'm actually more of Scorpion more than Sub-Zero, but Sub-Zero is by far my favorite.
Oh, okay. And Scorpion was because of his gameplay.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and what's crazy also too that now that I'm liking to play with him, I got a statue of Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm gonna probably go get tomorrow.
So the one you won at your
Tournament.
the tournament over there.
That's funny because it's crazy in video games. You'll like a certain character, but because you like the way that somebody else plays, you'll choose the other character as well because you like the gameplay of it. Which I have a story to go into what I'm gonna say after. But
because I know what you mean. Because the way the character plays, that's why I like Scorpion. Like the way he can vanish and just a flame just come behind, surprise you all the time.
That's the reason you like him.
Yeah,
And he's cool too. I mean, he's able to, like you said, teleport. He has long range with his katanas and stuff, and he's fast too. He has different mix-ups and just his gameplay. It's unique. Even far away, you have something to like.
Bring him closer. Bring him
start a combo.
closer. Yeah.
Then he's all like, Kabuki. I'm messing with you.
You're talking about a different character.
I know. I probably got some people on listening. They're like, this motherfucker. No.
Yeah, get it right.
No, I know, guys.
When I first started, I actually was drawn to Sub-Zero. Same thing, what Daniel was saying. that he's blue, so I like blue. Especially versus yellow, I'd rather go with blue. But also, he just looked badass. And I looked into the story, and I found out there was 2 Sub-Zeros, and so I was like, you know what? I like the original Sub-Zero. A lot of people like Sub-Zero now, which he's still badass.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But it's the younger brother.
Right.
Like, so I stuck with the older brother, which then in the story mode became Noob Saibot.
Noob Saibot.
The Black Ninja. And, I mean, he's such a badass character, bro. Like, different moves, different powers. And just the fact that he turned into something else with more power. And at the same time, it's similar to Scorpion's story, where, it was actually Quan Chi who killed the clan, not Sub-Zero, but
right.
he
framed him.
He cloaked himself as Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
And he killed him, and then he revived them to get revenge. And then, he ended up killing Sub-Zero in the first tournament. And then he came back, Quan Chi revived him.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're both these, there's still that rivalry there, even though, he also has a rivalry with his younger brother.
The MK universe is amazing. I think they did a really good job in trying to really expand the roster, but still make them all unique and different. I mean, I can sit here, for instance, like, Jack and Nightwolf, I felt were very underrated characters. I didn't see a lot of people playing them, so that kind of became my new favorites. Mm-hmm. But, like, I can sit here and talk about a lot of different characters that I think, I really enjoy and love. I don't really play them, but I like them a lot. Like Cabal. I love Cabal.
Cabal's cool. Cabal's
Aaron
really
Black.
Good. Aaron Black.
Amazing.
I love playing them in MKX.
Yeah.
He was the first character I played in MKX.
Really. They're great characters. You know what I'm saying? They're all very unique. And I think just the game itself is has so much replayability.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, definitely. I mean, trust me, I've been stuck on these fighting games since Mortal Kombat 9. And, so the point you were talking about earlier about different characters, I like Noob Saibot, and I still play with him. But like Daniel was saying earlier, he switched over from Sub-Zero to Scorpion because of his gameplay.
Right.
And so, as much as I love Noob, which I really need to play with him a lot more and get better with him, I choose Collector in MK11 because it fits my play style. I like how he moves. I like the moves he has. And at the same time, he's similar to Scarecrow from Injustice 2, which was one of my mains, along with Joker. Mm. And it's crazy how you like a character, but because somebody else plays more to your liking, you decide to choose somebody else. Right. I never understood at first, but now I get it. But I need to play with a Noob a little more. But when they I don't know if you guys heard when they brought over a Joker into MK11.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I know some people doubted it a little bit. And I was like, bro, I feel like Joker would be a perfect fit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I mean, I know he's a DC character and they might not want to have the image of him dying and shit.
Yeah.
But bro, have you seen his comics, bro?
Oh yeah.
Like, he's killing people too, Yeah.
He's perfect for the MJ universe.
Tear off his whole face and everything.
I like the way they incorporated, like, the Terminator, RoboCop. Like, those are some really good additions. I think Rambo, also really good. I know Spawn, yes, absolutely. And MKX, I never really played MKX. But then they added all the horror characters, Jason and Freddy and
MKX.
I like playing with Freddy.
Yeah, like
Freddy
they
was pretty
had
dope.
really good additions in MKX and MK11.
Jason, wait, who? Who'd you play?
Freddy.
Oh, Freddy, MK9. Oh, okay, yeah, he was really good too. He was broken MK9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
but he was good.
So they had some really good DLC. A lot of times nowadays, whatever DLCs that out with the game is usually trash. But I think the DLC for all these past 9, 10, and 11, just beautiful DLCs. They had characters that really needed to be a part of it. Yeah. So
a lot of them, if you notice, it's characters that they want to sponsor because it's owned by WB.
Exactly.
And so they sponsor, the Terminator,
dude,
Spawn.
I'm so glad you brought up that WB shit because I saw there was, I don't know if you guys followed up. I don't know, a couple years ago, they were talking about how Shaggy was super powerful.
Oh,
and they're like, yo, Shaggy's part of the WB universe, bro. They're like, let Shaggy be in MK11. I'm like, zoinks! You're gonna feel my ultimate power, man.
And it started off as a meme.
Throwing a fucking sub sandwich.
And then they ended up making an actual game like Smash Bros. And having him in it.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I think there was a a game of damn fucking, what do you call it? What, Scooby Doo and all of them fighting?
Yeah.
Because I could have sworn I know I played it,
Yeah,
so I know not tripping.
yeah. They had
But
like a
we
beta.
could be having some like Mandela effect shit too. I don't know what to trust no more.
Yeah,
This is
but
hilarious.
it's crazy how they went from having Shaggy as like a meme and being powerful and being a fighter, and they would even Ed Boon would joke around about having him like in a Mortal Kombat game and stuff, and just like trolling people, right?
Dude, Ed Boon's a fucking mastermind, dude.
And then he ended up actually coming out. They actually ended up coming out with not Ed Boon, but WB ended up coming out with a game that's similar to Smash Bros.
Ooh.
But a fighting game with DC or with WB characters in it.
Yeah.
And they even put Shaggy, and from what I hear, that the ultimate that Shaggy has was also what they put in the meme.
Dude, that's fucking
It's
amazing.
tight, bro.
That's fucking hilarious.
So I wonder if they already had. I don't know. Maybe there was a leak that I didn't know about. Maybe they already had it in development, and it was just a coincidence that they put Shaggy there, or they made a game revolving around the whole Shaggy meme and the fighting game meme.
Right.
Like I wonder what the reason was. Like, were they already in development, or was it like, oh shit, this is popular? Try to, there's what, like that Nickelodeon one or
Oh yeah, they had
right?
a Nickelodeon one. Yeah.
And so they were like, fuck it, let's do it too.
That's badass.
Yeah, right.
It's just hilarious. But yeah, man, I just pre-ordered. Right now, I'm trying to go through all the old school games. Some of the games that I've missed when the Xbox 360 came out.
Yeah.
So right now I'm working through Dead Space. I know Dead Space was like a super popular horror game. Next to like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I gotta say, it's probably the scariest game I've ever played. Now, I'm a pussy when it comes to scary shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. So people that are listening, like, oh, Dead Space wasn't even that scary. No, fuck you. It was scary. Like,
Yeah.
it was scary as shit. Especially I have Astro 850s, and that surround sound on those Astros
Oh,
are fucking insane,
right.
dude. So I played through Dead Space 1, loved it. I even played the little 1 hour game in between Dead Space 1 and 2. It was like an hour long. It was Dead Space Ignition. It was like it had nothing. I mean, it had a storyline of Dead Space, but it was all like mini games.
Oh, okay.
It was like puzzles and stuff.
Right.
Right. And so then I just started playing Dead Space 2 today, and I gotta say, the graphics from back then are
Not
fucking
bad.
insane, dude.
Yeah, dude.
And
Compared
so-
to the remake that I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah, man, it's insane.
It's
so
not that far off.
I'm excited. I'm excited to play through these two, and then I think I want to play Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 again.
Oh, bro, I want to play that. I want to play
It's
online
so
too.
good, dude.
I want to
Yeah.
play online.
The
bro.
story mode.
The stories.
I heard the story
It's
is
like a
crazy.
movie, man. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, one or two?
Both of them.
Both of
Oh,
them.
both
And
of
so
them?
I want to play both of them
Two's a
again.
prequel, right?
Yeah, two's the prequel to the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But I heard two's a lot fucking better.
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean,
Two?
the graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah, two's good. I think it's better than the first one. I guess it has a lot more stuff to do than one.
Right.
But man, both of them are amazing. The ending's amazing. The entire story, you're hooked. As soon as you
But-
start the game, you don't want to do everything.
Oh, God, I gotta get it.
I have two things that, like, one that I'm really excited to talk about right now, but the other was another thing that I forgot to mention that they were also making a remake of, which you mentioned earlier, was Silent Hill. They're making another remake of that one.
That shit's scary as fuck too.
I think it's also Silent Hill 2.
Yeah. it's just
Do you
scary as fuck.
do you guys remember Manhunter?
Manhunter? That shit was banned for a little while.
Was it?
Yeah, Manhunter. They had issues releasing it because it was like super gory at the time.
Bro.
Shit was wild too. Shit was off the chain.
Hey, I had it, bro. I had Manhunter and Manhunter too.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro.
That shit was scary as fuck too.
Dude, we would play. Me and my cousins would play, and my nephew, and we'll be sitting there playing, and we'll sit there and scream, bro. We're fucking like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like. And then my nephew was only like probably 5 at the time, but
Yeah, just playing the game, being scared and stuff.
oh hell yeah, bro, hell yeah.
So, yeah,
But-
there was weren't they making another Silent Hill that got canceled? That was real scary.
Yeah,
Like,
I
they were
think
just going
so.
around, and then they stopped. It was Kojima or something like that,
Something like that. Yeah.
and they canceled it, and then they never made it. But like the demo, they took it down for PSN and all that, and only the people that people would sell their system because it had the game.
Because it had the game on there, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking making a grip of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Those scary games, yeah, even though I'm like a bitch about it, I love playing them.
I feel like if I'm gonna play with a group, I don't think I play by myself.
Dude, it's fucking sketchy playing by yourself. I ain't gonna lie to you. There have been times where I didn't put the Astros on fully. I kind of let them rest on my neck. And it's like nighttime, I'm home by myself. Like, oh, fuck. Like, it's a lot of jump scares. And then the entire game, there's a lot of voices that you hear in the background. There's a lot of shit that will scrape, walls. And you randomly, it depending on what you do triggers certain cutscenes or certain things in game. It's wild, man.
I forget what game I got. I got the kids. It was like you make your choices,
Yeah,
you were telling me about that.
There's actually 4 books to it.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Fuck. Hope. I think it's called Hope. Yeah.
It was kind of like the Walking Dead game that the Tall Tale games came out.
Yeah.
You get to choose options, and obviously the game would play out differently depending on what you say, what you do.
Yeah.
Those are fun games too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
or the I forgot what it's called. That it's a series of games, and it always has that skull on it. I have something of Medan.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to think here. I don't remember.
But
yeah.
you also it's a group. You can play as a group, and then there's different characters, and you control what they do and the choices. You might kill some.
Different outcomes, yeah.
Different outcomes.
Kind of like back in the day when we had the choose your own adventure books.
Oh yeah, the adventure books.
It's like if you want to go down the hall, go to page 37. If you want to sit there and piss yourself, go to page 100. And so those are good shit, man.
What about this is the other one that I want to bring up, which I feel like this would be an exciting conversation. Because I feel like you probably enjoy it as much as I do, is the Empire of Sin.
Oh,
Empire of Sin, bro.
Dude, so, you already know that I like turn-based strategy games. That's literally my shit. I used to play a lot of, not just turn-based, but even like real-time strategy. StarCraft 2, I was a huge fan of StarCraft 2. Civilization. What else? Just all... I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Darkest Dungeon. This is like a dungeon crawler, turn-based strategy.
Right.
All those different games. I love turn-based, right?
Yeah.
Then I remember you telling me at my brother's birthday party, like, yeah, dude, you ever check out Empire of Sin? I was like, I don't think so. So then I was just sitting there. I have the Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
He told me it was on Game Pass. I was like, fuck it, I'll check it out. It's turn-based strategy. Dude, you're a gangster. You play as
you know how much I love that shit.
Dude,
bro.
I know. You play as Al Capone. Any of these, I mean, they obviously have made a
Mexican boss.
Mexican boss, Asian boss, like Chinese,
Oaxaca.
Italian, French. It's seriously, dude, it's insane.
Yeah.
And you play as a mob boss.
Yeah.
It goes into so much. The game has so much depth. Racketeering, paying off police. It has so much depth in it that it's such a good game.
Yeah, and then you organize. You actually you have your soldiers and
Yeah,
your captains. You could assign your underboss and how well they do and stuff.
Diplomacy, like your other rival gangs, you make deals with them. It's kind of like
they gotta take over the whole Chicago area.
Right. It's kind of like a gangster version of Civilization.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those games where I downloaded and I was getting into it, but it's one of those games you really need to take time.
Yeah, you have to sit down.
You have to sit down and really focus. Yeah, you can't. Kind of not one of those games where you can play for I'm gonna play for 30 minutes, quick deal. No.
You get stuck there for a while.
Or I have 4 other games I want to jump around with. No, this is the type of game you're gonna sit with this game for a few weeks to a month.
And what's crazy is that I don't like single player games.
Right.
I don't like single player games that much unless I enjoy the story mode and stuff. But other than that, I'd rather play online competitive.
Right.
So I play Mortal Kombat, Gears of War, and stuff like that. And but with that one, because like I said, you guys know how much I love the whole gangster history and stuff. And because of that, I was like, I want to play this game when it comes out because I feel like it's something that I'd really like because it really is. You're making deals with certain factions. You're making treaties. You're going to war. They're coming in and ransacking your buildings. You go over there and ransack their buildings. And then you also, build alliances with other people. Sometimes you might make the wrong choice. And then, now you have to wait till the deal is done to be able to even travel to the next block or something like that.
Yeah. It's so much depth, man. If whoever's listening, if you guys are into turn-based strategy games, gangster history, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
So
It's fun. It's something that I want to pick up again, and it's because there's so much to do in there, and it's like you're actually running technically your own company, but illegally in the game, right?
right.
And you have your employees, and you're paying them,
Yeah.
and at the same time, there's different rankings for these employees, each one of them, and they put so much depth in it that even the characters themselves have relationships with each other. They don't like each other, or they're cool with each other, or they'll fall in love with each other.
And then that would depend on their attributes, their bonuses, their debuffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Another one of the games that I really like that's turn-based too is XCOM. It's like set in the future. Aliens come and take over the planet, and you're like a government agency that you're super soldiers, and you're sent out to eradicate these aliens, and you upgrade your armor, weapons, things like that. Different types of soldiers, snipers, grenadiers, foot soldiers. It's good shit, man. So
Yeah.
all those games are all real good.
What game I want remade is Freedom Fighter.
Oh, Freedom Fighter! Wow, I haven't heard that game in God knows how long. It was for PlayStation 2.
When it
Another-
probably came out.
Yeah,
PlayStation 2,
another
yeah.
turn-based strategy
It's time.
game
It's a whole era.
that
Yeah.
was, or was it real time? I think it was.
Original
I think it was
Xbox
real
game.
time.
Mhm.
Freedom Fighters was an amazing strategy
Dude.
game. Really good. I would really love a remake of that.
Hell
on
yeah,
PS5.
man.
That shit would be awesome.
Dude, it will get it really you'll sell it'll sell.
Oh, it would.
Because you were able, I don't know if you guys played it, but you were able to control your own crew, your own little army,
Yeah.
army of 4 or 5, and execute missions and everything. And we were fighting against the Soviet Union, right?
Yeah, so the game's called Freedom Fighters, and you were like guerrilla fighters. You guys ever watch Red Dawn? It's kind of like Red Dawn, where you're just guerrilla fighters, and you're
No.
fighting against the Soviet Union.
Right.
You're just regular people banding together to fight against, communism.
Be a
And-
great game to come out right now.
Dude, right?
Bro.
It's such a good game.
Another strategy game that I was just thinking about right now, which would be perfect because I feel like all of us would enjoy that game so much, which I've been trying to have people play with me for the longest, but I haven't found people. Risk.
Oh, dude.
Risk. Bro.
Dude, you're lucky my
Risk.
family's not here. They'd be talking mad shit.
Yeah, I know.
about it.
Your brother told me.
Dude, I fucking turned into a whole... first of all, I'm competitive just
Yeah.
naturally, right?
Right.
Risk is one of my favorite board games of all time.
That's why Mortal Kombat's the game for you.
Dude, I will turn into another person. We're playing, you bust out the Risk board, I'll be like, yo, it's about to go fucking down right now. There's no
why
friendships
I like it so
right now.
much, dude? Is because it's similar to to Empire of Sin, where
Yeah.
it's you have your own faction. You might make some deals here and there, but then eventually you're gonna have to fuck everybody over.
Right.
Right?
Because world domination.
Yeah, so I feel that's pretty cool, and the so I feel like we'd all enjoy it. We're all pretty technical and strategical people, so it'd be cool to all of us just play.
One night, just have a game of Risk.
So you
Get
guys,
drunk as fuck.
Yeah,
you guys remember though?
Guys
you,
fuck too.
you know how Monopoly ruins families and
Yes.
relationships and everything. I don't want Risk to be that game too. No, I'm saying.
Yeah, bro, no,
Hey, we
no
gotta
promises,
take
bro.
We gotta take
promises.
That's what
Yeah.
hey, it's the name of the game.
That's good shit, bro.
No, but it'd be
you've
fun
been talking
though.
about that game.
Yeah, I've been talking about it for a while, but
Yeah.
I haven't been able to
I have
time.
it.
Huh?
I have it.
I have the Metal Gear Solid version.
Oh, that's right, you do, bro.
Yeah,
That's right.
Which I feel like it just has a little more stuff that
It's a little bit different objectives.
Yeah. So one of these days you guys want to plan it out here on the podcast. That way it's written down.
Damn.
Yeah.
When are we doing this, huh?
Right. Put it in
Right.
the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What are you guys gonna eat here after here? What are you guys gonna eat? What are you
shit,
gonna munch
I
on?
don't know. I might just go home, fucking make a sandwich or something, and knock the hell out. I'm gonna go golfing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if I gotta get my beauty sleep, make sure I'm the only Mexican out there, so I'm doing it for our people.
Hey,
Representation, man.
I was telling you that Angel was telling me the same shit too.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just the
It's a
one
good
brown
sport,
golfer. It's fun, man.
Yeah,
it's
it's
super
a good
fun.
sport.
It's hard as shit, but man,
Yeah.
it's so much fun.
You
There's
know
no
what's-
other sport where you can drink and smoke cigars
Yeah.
while playing.
Yeah.
That's tight.
So,
You know what's fun too? Tennis.
dude, that's fucking. You need some cardio for that shit.
Dude,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love tennis when I'm trying to lose weight.
Fuck yeah.
But-
we gotta go play.
But right now, I'm not thinking of losing weight. I'm thinking of fucking like a torta or burrito.
I know, bro. I'm feeling the same right now.
Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
I can't remember when I ate. I think yesterday.
Shit, man.
I'm on.
I need to go home right now and fucking eat. So, but I just want to say, man, I appreciate you guys having me out here on the podcast, and I
Hell
can't wait
yeah,
to come
man.
back.
Well, we'll have you definitely, along with some other guests too, and we've been trying to have you here for a long time, and we finally got our schedule, like to fit accordingly.
Yeah.
And we're finally here, bro, and we enjoy having you here. And like I said, bro, we've been wanting you here for a while.
Yeah, man, it's
So
been
the
cool
fact that
shit.
you're here now,
I
is,
could finally take those. I erased those questions and
questions?
notes, and I was like, man, that's been there for a while.
Yeah, maybe we can do like a weekly thing. You guys, whoever's listening has questions for me every week or something.
Heck yeah,
every
guys!
month.
You guys,
You know,
that'll be
so-
pretty dope. We could do a paramedic scene.
yeah.
Getting what? How? Well, we'll figure out a way to
We'll
name
figure
it.
out how to do it.
We'll
but-
figure not how to do it, how to name it. I didn't want to name it badly. 'Cause-
But like I said, man,
Crazy
it's been,
shit that happens.
yeah, right? It's been cool. It's been cool being on here, and I
Oh.
can't wait to do it again, guys. So
Yeah,
thanks
definitely.
again.
We'll have you back again
Yeah.
for sure. We got everything planned out, so you'll be back on the list again, and we'll have you back on for sure, and we'll have something to talk about. Is there anything, anything you want to shout out?
No, man. Like I said, it's just been a pleasure, and we've all been friends for a while. So now to kind of do something like this, it's kind of nice to kind of look back on later on in life. So.
Definitely.
So,
definitely.
but yeah, man.
And
Until
more to
next
come.
time. More to come, man.
More
Until
to come,
next
too.
time.
Yeah, you don't want to shout out your OF fan? Your OF account?
My what?
He said your OnlyFans.
Hey,
Extra cash,
it's just-
extra cash.
It's just beat stuff, bro. You're into that. I got you.
Shout it out, bro. Hey, there's plenty of people that want it.
Or I know it's the panza, dude. If you guys are into that, man. It's big boy season right now. It's starting to get chilly. So.
Hell yeah. You ain't really you wanna shout out your OF?
Nah, not right now.
Fuck?
Some little toe pictures are gonna come out.
You don't have to pay her, just go to Snapchat.
Damn.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
You, Daniel?
Nah, this has been a good one, guys. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys learned something. Don't believe what you see on TV.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. If you guys need any haircut services, hit me up at _vintage_effects 661. Set me up, and we'll get you an appointment, and we get you looking good.
Yeah, hell yeah. Huge shout out to, the paramedic team, the ambulance, hall ambulance.
Here at your service.
Thank you for
Thank you, sir. And
serving us.
send us some questions, and we'll send them over to our dear friend over here, our dear bud, and we'll have them answer for you guys if you guys need it. Also, check us out on all social media platforms, and also all podcast platforms will be there. Comment, like, share, and help us out, even just with a little like. That'd be awesome. Interact with us on social media. We're on there a lot more now.
Yeah, we're getting into it now.
Yeah,
More
yeah.
pictures, more videos coming soon.
So, with that being said, this
That's
was a good
a
one.
wrap. Hell
So
yeah.
right there. See you guys next time.
Later.
Later.
That was it.